Alfred stands before the burning ruins. A voice coldly asks what he is doing. Alfred. Alfred turns back. His profile is revealed in the firelight. Maria screams, her eyes wide with fury. You won't have a good end. Alfred whispers aggressively. Really? I won't be controlled by you anymore. His eyes become cold and determined. This country and its people, everything will be ruled by me. Alfred raises his long sword. The blade cuts through the air. Blood splatters. Then he falls into endless darkness. Those eyes can see through the abyss. Pitch black and dead silent. Phone screen lights up. Please look forward to the next update. Ikeda sits up abruptly. That's it. I really want to know what happens next. All right. Gotta work hard today, too. Ikeda frowns. The document in his hand is crumpled. He suppresses his anger. Department head, what does this mean? I absolutely will not accept a transfer to the materials management department. The department head looks at him impatiently. You made the new employee cry the other day, right? Ikeda retorts angrily. I just pointed out their mistakes. The department head sighs dismissively. I admit your sales performance is excellent, but you are too direct. You know, the decision has been made. The department head pats Ikeda's shoulder hypocritically. Take care. He has a twisted smile on his face. The office is buzzing with gossip. I heard Ikeda was demoted. He offended the boss, especially the department head. Yeah, he always thinks he's right. It's tiring working with him. A wine bottle slams onto the table. Ikeda sits at the dining table. Why? Why'd I have to go through this? What do my past achievements count for? He pounds the table in anger. That idiot department head, just because I offered some opinions. He used that excuse to drive me away. Ikeda picks up his phone. This novel is my only hope now. The phone screen shows next update date, TBD. Ikeda looks shocked. What? Still not updated? Hurry up. But speaking of which, that woman named Maria is really bad, abusing her stepson, and finally killed by him. Ikeda lies on the table, drunk. Serve her right. If it were me, things would never turn out like that. The hypocritical face of the department head flashes in his mind. Tears slide down Ikeda's cheeks. How did things turn out like this? What exactly did I do wrong? His consciousness gradually blurs. My head hurts so much. He struggles to get up. I think I drank too much. I need water. He stares at himself in the mirror. Steps back in horror. Who is this? A maid hurries over. Madam Maria. Excuse me. Maria freezes. What on earth is going on? A blond boy peeks out from behind the door. He is holding a cat plushie, looking timid. The maid turns around. Oh my God, young Master Alfred. Maria's mind is in chaos. Alfred? Maria? Impossible. Could it be that I enter the novel? The novel hero's path. It tells the hero's story of Prince Carlos. He goes through hardships, meets companions, and finally grows into a true king. I only read up to the latest update. I don't know the ending, but every story has a villain. That villain is Alfred Brown. That's right, I reincarnated as the villain's stepmother. Maria grabs her hair in terror. I just passed out from drinking and woke up in the novel world. Are you kidding me? The maid looks at her anxiously. Madam Maria, are you all right? I'll go call the doctor immediately. Maria looks at Alfred at the door. If I am Maria, then that means one day I will die at this child's hands. She takes a deep breath. It's okay. I can handle this. I didn't intend to abuse him anyway. Just smile and speak politely. She tries to squeeze out a smile. Wait, I can't speak. She stumbles a step. Her body lurches forward. Alfred falls to the ground in fright, looking at her in horror. Maria desperately wants to explain. I'm not going to eat you. But she can only make a raspy, gasping sound. Why can't I speak? Alfred scrambles away. Maria reaches out. Wait a minute. She collapses on the sofa. It's over. Everything is over. The first impression is completely ruined. If I can't even communicate, there's no hope. The final ending is already destined. I'll still be killed by Alfred. At least let me start over. The maid approaches with a tray. You must be tired. After all, you just got married. Maria's eyes light up. That's right. I remember now. The doctor did say the cause was unknown, probably due to fatigue from the wedding. If I remember correctly, it was some time after the marriage that Maria started abusing Alfred. This means I still have time. I will never sit still and wait for death. Let's just take this aphasia as a cruel blessing. The maid hands her a glass of water. Maria takes the glass, drinks it in one gulp. Screw the original story. I want to survive. Her eyes are determined. I'll do it my own way. Maria sits at the dressing table. The maid combs her hair. First, I must get on good terms with Alfred. She clenches her fist, eyes determined. Even if I can't speak, there's always a way. Alfred walks alone in the long corridor. His back looks lonely. A hand gently touches his shoulder. He turns around in confusion. Alfred is startled. Body freezes. Maria tries to squeeze out a smile. Hold up a piece of paper. It says, "Can I talk to you?" Alfred bursts into tears, shaking with fear. The plushie in his hand falls to the ground. Maria looks at him, somewhat at a loss. Alfred turns and runs. Maria reaches out. Wait, why is he avoiding me? She picks up the plushie from the ground. Forget making friends. He won't even let me near him. In the novel, Maria is killed on Alfred's 16th birthday. Maybe because Alfred is the villain. The novel didn't dwell much on his childhood, since the story wasn't finished. I don't know all the dangerous plot points. I can only take it one step at a time. Maria looks at Alfred's retreating back. She sighs. She stands on the stairs. I must be careful this time. She slips, loses her balance. The cat plushie flies out her hand. Here we go again. Why is this dress so hard to walk in? She falls heavily to the ground. Terrible. I scared him again. Alfred looks at her in horror. Maria struggles to force a smile. Smile quickly. Alfred picks up the plushie and runs away like he's avoiding the plague. The main gates slowly open. Both look towards it. The Duke has returned. A tall figure appears at the door. Servants line up on both sides. Bowing respectfully, Maria looks up. My husband, Zahar. He is incredibly handsome. Maybe reincarnating here isn't too bad. Zahar looks down at Maria, sitting on the ground. Speaks coldly. Why are you squatting on the ground? How embarrassing. Maria's smile freezes on her face. What? Zahar completely ignores her. Looks at another man. Let's talk about the imported goods. Maria looks at his back. Your wife fell in front of you, and that's all you say? At least help me up. She trembles with anger, stands up abruptly from the ground. What a terrible guy. Zahar turns to Alfred. Tone icy. You're already 5 years old, still hugging a plush toy. Alfred hugs the cat plushie tightly. Lowers his head. Zahar's footsteps approach. You are someone who will serve the king in the future. No time to waste on such stupid things. Time for sword practice. He grabs Alfred's hand, forcibly drags him away. Maria watches this scene. Alfred looks very reluctant. Fragments of memory flash by. A man says to two children, sorry, Ikeda has to study. Can't play. Ikeda hides behind the window, watching friends play downstairs. That must be nice. He sits alone at the desk, opens the workbook, and writes. Actually, I want to play too. Maria reaches out to stop Alfred. Zahar stops walking. What is it? Maria looks straight at Zahar. The child doesn't want to go. Zahar looks at her. Is something wrong? Maria is anxious inside. Damn it, why can't I speak? She gestures. The child looks very reluctant. Doesn't he? Zahar snorts contemptuously. What kind of joke are you playing? If there's nothing else, we'll be going. He pulls Alfred's hand and turns to leave. Maria stands there watching their backs. Alfred looks back at her, his eyes full of longing. Alfred's memory flashes back. Mother stroking his head. Use your power. You can read people's hearts just by touching, but don't tell anyone. Little Alfred lies in his mother's arms. Not even Papa. Mother puts her index finger to her lips. Yes, this is a secret between us two. Okay? Alfred notes. Okay, this is the power Mom gave me, but I don't need this kind of thing at all. Zahar's face darkens. Don't block my way. He pulls Alfred's hand. Let's go. Alfred is dragged away by Zahar. It's strange. Ever since I overheard that thing, Alfred stand besiegt Zahar, looking at the woman in front of him. Is she my new mother? Maria smiles. From today on, to become Mr. Zahar's wife. It is my supreme honor. Zahar is expressionless. Please take care of things. Maria leans on Zahar. After all, we are husband and wife. I have a lot I want to say to you. Zahar looks at her silently. Maria's gaze moves past Zahar, lands on Alfred. Oh my, greets him enthusiastically. Hello there. I'm so happy to have such a cute son like you. Alfred looks up at her, looking uneasy. Maria smiles brightly. From now on, please take care of me. She extends her hand, gently touches Alfred's cheek, but inside a cold voice sounds. What a burden. Alfred feels regret, but that person just now seemed to be worried about me. Maria sits alone on the sofa, frowning. What happened just now reminded me of some unpleasant memories. That man is exactly like my bastard dad. My father was unreasonably strict with me. During childhood, he didn't allow me to play with friends, bound me with discipline and curfews. Parents controlling my life. As soon as I graduated, they arranged blind dates for me. Father crosses his arms. Expression serious. Getting married and having children early is a woman's greatest happiness. Ikeda sits at the table and retorts. That's just your idea. I don't want to get married. Father flies into a rage, slams his fist on the table. You dare contradict your father. He roars. Shut up. Just listen to me. Ikeda endures silently, hands clenching his knees until white. He stands up abruptly. My own happiness is decided by me. Just like that, I dragged my suitcase and left home. Never went back. Maria holds her forehead. However, I actually married a man exactly like my father. This is terrible. She sits on the sofa, puffing her cheeks. Zahar's attitude is really infuriating. Too disappointing. Normally, one should immediately notice someone's discomfort, right? Looking at that child is like seeing the past me. Why does a 5-year-old boy have to learn swordsmanship? Zahar's cold face appears. Don't block my way. Maria sighs. Fine. He said, don't block his way. Then I'll just shut up. Zahar and Alfred stand in the center of the courtyard, each holding a sword. Maria hides behind a pillar, frowning. She watches the father and son in the courtyard. What am I doing? Maria hides to the side. Follow them out of curiosity. She peeks out quietly. Is Alfred okay? Alfred sits on the ground, struggling to stretch his legs. I don't want to do this. I don't want to cut people. Nor don't want to be cut. A voice comes from behind. Alfred, are you hurt? Alfred trembles all over. Zahar's cold voice comes from behind. Stop dawdling. He urges sternly. Come here quickly. Alfred lowers his head, lips pursed tight. He gently strokes the cat plushie's head. Be good. Wait for me to come back. Alfred struggles to wield the wooden sword, hitting the training dummy again and again. Zahar crosses his arms. He scolds sharply. Faster. Alfred grits his teeth, swings the wooden sword desperately. He slips, falls heavily to the ground. The wooden sword flies out of his hand. Zahar looks down at him expressionlessly. Continue. He comments coldly. Your movements are still too slow. Alfred struggles to get up, grabs the wooden sword again, swings at the dummy again, but falls once more. Zahar's voice has no warmth. Don't fall every time. Stand up quickly. Alfred kneels on the ground, tears welling up in his eyes. I'm sorry. Maria hides in the distance, fingernails digging deep into her palms. I can't stand it. She rushes out of her hiding place. I can't watch this anymore. She walks quickly across the courtyard, skirt flying. Zahar frowns. Why are you here again? Maria spreads her arms, shields Alfred behind her, looks Zahar in the eye with determination. She thinks, Alfred is hurt. At least let him get treatment. Zahar sighs. Speak if you have something to say. Maria clenches her fists. I want to say it, but I can't. How ironic. The current me is the complete opposite of the past me, who only knew how to rebel. Alfred's small hand gently tugs at the hem of Maria's dress. Maria, can't you speak anymore? Maria is slightly stunned. What? How does this child? Zahar's face darkens. Is this your strategy? What exactly do you want to do? Maria looks shocked. Is this guy an idiot? Zahar turns and questions. Melio, wasn't she fine the other day? Melio answers respectfully. Mr. Zahar, Madam indeed cannot speak anymore. The doctor has already diagnosed it, but the cause is unknown. He hands over a piece of paper. This is the doctor's diagnosis. Melio looks at Madam Maria. This is the first time I've met you. I work by Mr. Zahar's side. My name is Melio. All right, I brought paper and pen. He hands over paper and pen. Thoughtful actions. Maria takes the paper and pen. What good assistant? She writes on the paper. I don't know what happened, but I suddenly lost my voice. She ponders. Maybe it was when I reincarnated, but I can't say that. She continues writing. I will try my best not to cause trouble. Please take care of me from now on. Zahar frowns. Maria pauses. He suspects me, perhaps because he is too strict with Alfred. So Alfred. Anyway, Zahar and I will eventually be killed by Alfred. We share a common fate. I want to find a way to save us all. Zahar sighs. But you have already caused me trouble. Don't interfere in my business anymore. He turns to Alfred. That's it for today. Even if you were alone, practice well. Alfred watches him leave silently. Maria shows a strange smile. I take back what I said. Saving myself is enough. Zahar walks away briskly. Melio follows closely. Zahar asks as he walks. She suddenly lost her voice? What the hell is she up to? Melio opens the study door for him. There is a doctor's diagnosis. It might be true. Zahar walks to the desk. He orders Melio. She is a notorious villainess. Keep a close eye on her. Melio bows in command. Yes, Mr. Zahar. You can't even relax in your own home. Zahar clasps his hands. Can't be helped. After all, this marriage is the king's order. Alfred hugs the plushie, sits alone on the large bed. His figure looks especially lonely. A maid walks into the room with snacks. Excuse me, young Master Alfred. She smiles and says, you work hard on training today. Here's some snacks. The maid suddenly exclaims, oh my, you are covered in injuries. She turns immediately. I'll go treat you right away. Alfred lowers his head, looks at his red and swollen knees. It hurts. He hugs the plushie and whispers, Mother. A knock comes from the door. Alfred looks up at the door. Come in. Maria pushes the door open and enters. Waves gently. Alfred's eyes widen, face full of astonishment. Madam Maria is here? Maria walks over carrying a medicine kit. She has a gentle smile on her face. Alfred looks up at her, eyes full of confusion. Are you going to treat me? He stands up, forces himself to say, I'm fine. I'm not hurt at all. He stumbles a step. The sharp pain in his knees makes him lose strength instantly. He squats on the ground, tears bursting out. Maria squats down. Oh my. Slow down. She looks at Alfred's red and swollen knees. Hurt pretty badly. Need to treat it quickly. Her hand gently touches Alfred's red and swollen knee. Alfred faces. She is worrying about me again. Maria takes out a cotton swab. It might sting a little. Bear with it. Alfred cries out. No, it hurts. Maria's movements don't stop. Her eyes become even gentler. It will be better soon. Alfred struggles. Stop. Maria picks up the bandage. Done. Cleaned up. Now, to bandage it. You seem to have a hard time, too. Having to undergo such strict training at only 5 years old. Enduring while crying. You are amazing. Alfred's crying gradually stops. He looks up. A smile blooms on his face. Maria is stunned. He smiled. His expression changed so fast. Alfred suddenly covers his mouth. Eyes panicked. Do I look strange? Maria wraps the bandage for him. Movements gentle. What an interesting child. Alfred's cheeks flush. Interesting? Me? He remembers what other children said. Alfred is so boring. He smiles again. This is the first time someone said I'm interesting. Maria claps her hands. Done. She falls into thought. But that kind of strict training will continue, right? Is there any way to adjust it for this child? Alfred suddenly speaks. I'm a good boy. I will train hard. Maria looks at him in surprise. Really? Since he said so himself. Maria stands up. I should go back. Alfred's small hand grabs the hem of her dress. Maria looks back at him in confusion. Alfred looks up. Maria, are you leaving? His eyes are pure and innocent, like a beam of light hitting Maria. Maria covers her mouth, cheeks blushing. Oh my God, what is that? Too cute. Alfred's face is completely red. He whispers, thank you very much. Maria waves goodbye, turns and leaves. Alfred lets out a long sigh. Scared me to death. He sits back on the bed, hugging the plushie. But she is very nice. Maria, she isn't a scary person, right? What kind of person is she exactly? Zahar crosses his arms, eyes sharp. What exactly are you thinking? Emilio stands to the side. I was observing them just now. The atmosphere between them was very harmonious. And after a while, a smile appeared on young Master Alfred's face. Zahar is expressionless. Emilio suppresses a laugh. Like father, like son. Zahar glares at him asking, what are you laughing at? Emilio apologizes hurriedly. Sorry, but isn't it a good thing that they get along? Zahar's expression becomes serious. Don't underestimate her. She is a woman with a bad reputation. In high society, she would gather cronies, publicly humiliate any young lady who is more outstanding than her. She takes pleasure in mocking others. Emilio sighs. How scary. Zahar continues. This marriage was originally for surveillance. Emilio asks, you mean the Marquis Dunn family? Zahar says, the king believes. They're the masterminds behind the last rebellion, so I've been monitoring them closely. Maria looks very submissive now, even pretending not to be able to speak. We must confirm the situation as soon as possible, before they make any unnecessary moves. Maria sits at the dining table. The maid serves soup. Oh, looks delicious. She looks at the seat opposite. That's for Alfred, right? A hand grabs the chair, making a creaking sound. Zahar sits down. Maria looks disgusted. Him again. The two eat separately. The atmosphere is heavy. Maria thinks, how did it turn out like this? So awkward. Zahar lifts his wine glass and takes a sip. Maria's eyes are longing. Looks really good. I want a glass too. Zahar raises his glass. Would you like some red wine? Maria clasps her hands together, eyes sparkling. I didn't expect you to be so considerate. The maid pours her a glass of red wine. Maria lifts the glass and takes a sip. Delicious. This wine is really good. Zahar watches her enjoying it. You're like a different person now. Maria looks up in confusion. Zahar's gaze becomes sharp. Didn't you used to be unable to drink alcohol? Maria's movements freeze. Zahar stares at her. Who exactly are you? Maria looked terrified. I'm done for. The original Maria didn't drink. How would I know? Zahar looked confused. Do you have a split personality? Maria looked blank. What? Zahar stroked his chin thoughtfully. I've heard that people with split personalities don't just change character. Their taste preferences change too. Your recent behavior fits this description. Maria sighed in relief. I'm safe. Of course, he wouldn't discover I've transmigrated. That scared me to death. He actually pinpointed another personality. His observation is sharp. Although I've read the novel, I don't know the specific details of Maria before the transmigration. I can't let my guard down. Zahar pressed his hand on the table and stood up slowly. If it's not a split personality, then your lying skills are truly first class. He stopped beside Maria and picked up a table knife. He pressed the knife against Maria's chin. Or perhaps you've been replaced by someone else. Maria's body went rigid instantly, her jawline tense. Zahar stared at her. I thought she would at least scream, but she remained silent. Zahar's voice was low and dangerous. I warn you, I don't care what you're planning. Whether you're a liar or an imposter, if you dare try any tricks, I will kill you. He threw the knife away. So tread carefully. Maria felt cold all over. I'm going to be killed. If this goes on, I'll be killed. Right in front of Alfred. She slumped in the chair, holding her head. I must think of a way to eliminate Zahar's suspicion. My life is at stake. She looked up suddenly. Wait, what was the reason I married him? The novel wrote it. This marriage is to monitor Maria's family, the Marquis Dunn's family. They are suspected of being the masterminds behind the rebellion. I'm actually a hostage. No wonder he suspects me. Maria collapsed on the sofa. Head hurts. Anyway, I can't make any mistakes. She looked up and saw the door. She saw a small figure. Alfred peeked out from behind the door and waved carefully. Are you okay? Maria sat up immediately. I'm fine. Completely fine. She thought, I can't believe it. I was supposed to be killed by this child. Considering Zahar's threat, I must avoid any risk of death, even if there's only a sliver of possibility. Maria smiled. At least I should try to get along with Alfred. She reached out and beckoned gently. Come here. Alfred's cheeks flushed, and he ran away on his little legs. Maria watched him run away. He left. What did he come here for? Maria sat before the vanity. The mirror reflected a small figure. Alfred was hiding behind the door, peeking at her. Maria pondered. He's back. She turned around. This time I must. Alfred hugged his doll tightly, cheeks red, saying nothing. Maria walked towards him, puzzled. Alfred summoned his courage and whispered, good night. He turned and ran away. Maria stood there in shock. Did he run all the way here just to say that? He is too cute. Alfred walked in the hallway, heart fluttering. I spoke to her. I'm a good boy, right? Great. Operation Get Along is a success. Maria was baffled. What is up with him today? Did something happen? She rested her chin on her hand, recalling the scene. Does this count as us getting a little closer? Maria rolled over on the bed in frustration. I don't understand Alfred or Zahar. She lay on her back. By the way, when did I ever care so much about what others thought? Maria put a hand to her forehead, eyes confused. The old me would probably have questioned and retorted immediately. Sunlight flooded the gorgeous courtyard. The castle stood quietly in the morning mist. Maria woke up stretching. When did I fall asleep? She sat on the edge of the bed and slid her feet into slippers. Her toes touched something cold and slimy. She pulled her foot back sharply. She looked down in horror. I thought I could do anything. I also thought I never cried easily. That was much easier for me. But this one thing. Maria's face twisted, letting out a silent scream. Impossible. Alfred was peeking from behind the door, looking at her with confusion. Maria was terrified. Impossible. I'm terrified of mice. She pointed her toes in fear. A mouse was standing leisurely on the floor. The mouse was gnawing on her pen. Maria crumbled internally. Don't bite my pen. She reached out. Someone save me. The mouse blocked the doorway. Maria froze. Wait, if you stand there, how can I go call someone? Alfred looked worried from behind the door. Maria screamed internally. It's dangerous there. Run. Alfred hugged his doll and smiled. Good morning. Maria waved her hands frantically above her head, screaming silently. Alfred looked at her in confusion. Maria gestured. There's a mouse. Alfred looked blank. What? Maria went pale. He doesn't understand me, right? Alfred got closer to Maria and asked with concern, what's wrong? Maria was teary-eyed. She pointed forward. There's a mouse. Alfred turned his head. Are you afraid of mice? Maria hugged herself. I'm super afraid. Alfred looked puzzled, but he's cute. He had an idea. I know. Leave it to me. He walked to the mouse and held out his small hand. Come here. Don't cause trouble for Miss Maria, okay? He gently picked up the mouse. I'll take you out slowly. Alfred held the mouse and walked out of the room with a bright smile. Maria froze in place. She touched her chest. Thank goodness Alfred was here. Alfred ran back and opened his arms. It's okay now. I wash my hands too. Maria tore up and held his small hands tightly. Thank you so much. I must thank you properly. She picked up paper and pen, wrote a thank you note, and handed it to Alfred. Alfred looked at the note and smiled shyly. Maria wrote another one. If you need help in the future, just ask. Let's help each other. Alfred remembered a story from a book. Friends are people who help each other in times of trouble. His eyes lit up, cheeks flushing. Then are we friends? Will you be my friend? Maria was slightly stunned. Friends? This progress is too fast. But doesn't this take me one step further away from my death ending? Maria smiled and made a gesture. Of course. Alfred's eyes shone. Really? He waved his little fist excitedly. Yay, that's great. I actually have something I want your help with. The two walked on the wide stone path in the courtyard. Alfred stopped, twisting his hands nervously. When we play tag, I always get caught. I can never catch others, and I fall down easily. So I want to learn how to run faster. Alfred looked up at Maria. Maria, you run very fast. Maria paused. Me? Alfred added, when you were training, you were flying fast, remember? Maria nodded. So that's it. She made a confident gesture. Leave it to me. I have great reflexes. Alfred opened his arms excitedly. Great. Maria smiled and pointed forward. Show me how you run. Alfred moved his short legs and tried hard to run forward. Maria watched him. Too slow. That's not running at all. I walk faster than that. Alfred was panting, his expression serious. Suddenly, he lunged forward and fell heavily on the ground. Maria was shocked. She squatted down immediately. Thank goodness. It looks like no injury. Alfred's eyes were wet, looking aggrieved. Maria thought, anyway, you just need more practice. A raging fire burned behind her. All right, in that case, it's time for some special training. Alfred was startled. Maria held a wooden sword and thrust it into the ground. She held up a training plan. Step 1, swing arm 100 times. Posture and arm movement are key. Step 2, run 20 laps around the courtyard to build endurance. Step 3, up and down stairs 20 times to build leg strength. Alfred looked distressed. So much? Can I really do it? Maria led Alfred running in the courtyard. Sunlight fell on them. Emilio peeked from behind a pillar, observing quietly. He reported to Zahar. So it's those two. They seem to be doing some training. Zahar frowned slightly. Where are they up to? I'll go take a look. Alfred punted. Maria, wait. He followed Maria up the stairs. My legs won't move. His body swayed, and he fell from the stairs. Maria's pupils contracted. She rushed over violently. Oh no! She reached out, but couldn't reach him. Too late. A pair of strong arms caught Alfred steadily. Alfred slowly opened his eyes. Papa. Maria sighed in relief. Thank goodness. Zahar's eyes were cold. He glared at Maria. Did you push Alfred? What are you thinking? Maria opened her mouth in shock. What? Alfred waved his hands frantically. No, Maria didn't mean to. Zahar interrupted him. You shut up. He looked down at Maria, his voice cold as ice. I'm warning you. From now on, stay away from Alfred. Next time, I won't let you off so easily. Maria sat alone on the sofa, grabbed a bottle of wine, and poured herself a full glass. I didn't push him. Maybe I had to go a bit too far, but that was just an accident. I just wanted to try my best. Nothing has changed, whether in the past or now. He never considered what the child wanted, just imposing his own ideas on him. Maria slumped on the sofa, eyes empty. Alfred stood not far away, greeting carefully. Good morning, Miss Maria. Let's go. Maria closed her eyes. Alfred looked at her. Maybe. He walked to Maria and touched her hand gently. Maria looked troubled. I'm sorry. For your own good, we must stop training. Alfred looked up, eyes pleading. I will work harder. Please. I want you to teach me, Miss Maria. Maria lowered her eyes. I'm sorry. Alfred. She stood up and gently pushed Alfred away. Alfred turned and left. But I won't give up. Maria put her hand on her chest. She sighed. Is this really right? He still wants to continue training. As long as that man is here, I can't do anything. Maria looked thoughtful. Right? I can't give up yet. The study door was knocked. Maria pushed the door in. Zahar looked at her. Is there something I can help you with? Maria held up a note. I promise to help Alfred run faster. I request your permission for me to stay by. That is side for this. I swear no danger will happen again. This is my proposal. Whenever I am with Alfred, you can send someone you trust to follow us. What do you think? Zahar looked displeased. As long as you stay away from Alfred, there won't be such problems. Maria pondered. I know, but seeing that face, how can I refuse? Alfred walked in. Zahar looked at him. Alfred, what is it? Alfred raised his hand. I have something to say. Zahar was expressionless. Speak. Alfred summoned his courage. Miss Maria is not a bad person. I almost fell down the stairs. She just wanted to help me. And Maria is a friend. Zahar looked confused. Alfred continued. Friends should help each other in times of trouble. I've always wanted to run faster, but didn't know how. It was Maria who helped me. So I want Maria to teach me running. A blush appeared on Maria's face. She smiled. You can find someone you trust to be with us. Zahar crossed his arms. Who exactly do you want to do this? Everyone's gaze fell on him. Zahar was startled. No way. Alfred shouted excitedly. Papa, it would be great if you come too. Zahar looked shocked. He sat on the bench, chin in hand. What am I doing? I don't have time to play these boring games with you. Alfred opened his arms. It's not boring. This is to cultivate balance. Maria said to start with happiness. Maria thought. This also exercises leg muscles and strengthens core power. This is actually a modern training method, but this guy definitely doesn't understand. Zahar, turn around. Emilio, I leave the rest to you. Watch him. He left without looking back. I'm going back to work. Maria looked at his back. What? Is he that annoyed? Alfred lowered his head. I knew it. Maybe Papa really doesn't like me. Maria saw his depressed look. Oh no, Alfred is completely down. Maria squatted down and stroked Alfred's back gently. Alfred looked up, light rekindling in his eyes. Maria, let's continue. He stumbled forward running. Maria was thoughtful. But why is Zahar always so strict? Acting like he's so great. He should be more considerate of Alfred's feelings. Or was there a hidden reason behind his harshness? Alfred was panting, hands on knees. Maria walked up. Let's take a rest. Alfred responded happily. Okay. The two sat on a blanket. Tea and sandwiches were in front of them. Emilio approached. Maria waved enthusiastically. Emilio shook his head. No need. I'm fine. He picked up the teapot. Madam, let me pour tea for you. It smells really fragrant. He asked suddenly, what is in this? Maria looked panicked. Did he get suspicious? Emilio noticed her strangeness. Madam, you don't look well. Is there a problem with the smell? Maria was startled. What exactly did I do in the past? She wrote frantically on paper. I didn't prepare this tea. The maid brewed it. It has rosemary in it. It can relieve fatigue. Alfred spoke suddenly. There's rosemary in it. Maria was stunned. How does he know? Emilio smiled brightly. As expected of madam. You really have taste. He poured tea for Alfred. Great. Master Alfred, this tea will definitely help relieve your fatigue. Maria sighed in relief. Alfred took a sip of tea. Maria smiled. Thank you for helping me out. Also, how did you know about the rosemary? Could it be he can read my mind? Alfred was startled. He explained hurriedly. It was the maid. I heard the maid say Miss Maria was brewing rosemary tea. He sighed in relief. Managed to fool them. Maria rested her chin on her hand. True. How could there be magic like mind reading? Alfred smiled happily. Great. I know this invitation is sudden, but this is my first ball. I'm so nervous. Hope everything looks normal. Maria wore a gorgeous red dress, hands clasped in front, looking slightly uneasy. Alfred opened his eyes wide. Wow, Maria is so beautiful. Zahar looked sideways slightly. Then let's go to the royal banquet. In a magnificent banquet hall, guests were dancing. Zahar looked serious. I'll say it again. He pointed at Maria, tone allowing no question. Follow me closely. Don't do anything unnecessary. Maria squeezed out a stiff smile. Yes, I won't say anything, and I won't do anything. Guards pushed open the banquet hall doors. Maria looked around. This is the royal palace. Guests spun on the dance floor. The scene was magnificent. Maria covered her mouth with her hand. Breathtakingly beautiful. Zahar's voice sounded. First, let's go see His Majesty. On the throne, a red-haired man sat. He wore a crown. It was the king of this country. A boy sat beside the king. Maria gasped. Oh my God, it's the living Prince Carlos. I actually saw him with my own eyes. Zahar bowed slightly. Your Majesty, thank you for the invitation today. The king smiled. Glad you could come. The king turned to Maria. Duchess, how is married life? Zahar is capable, but a bit cold, right? I was a bit worried. Maria turned sideways slightly, saying nothing. The king looked confused. Zahar explained immediately. I'm very sorry. My wife has lost her voice for unknown reasons. Hearing this, the king said, Oh, that is truly unfortunate. Just relax and enjoy today. Maria thought, he really is elusive. He's the one who ordered the political marriage, right? The king's gaze turned to Alfred. Alfred, you've grown a lot taller. Alfred hid behind Maria, clutching her skirt tightly. Zahar scolded in a low voice. Alfred, that's too rude. The king waved his hand. Oh, it's fine. Don't be so nervous. Zahar and Maria comforted Alfred. The king watched with interest. Prince Carlos jumped down from the throne and rushed to Zahar. Long time no see. I miss you so much. He looked up. Teach me tactics next time. Zahar smiled and responded. Of course. Prince Carlos looked expectant. It's a promise. The king watched this scene. Carlos really likes Zahar. Since you're here today, why not go play with Alfred? The two children should be able to get along. Prince Carlos looked a bit reluctant. I want to talk to Zahar. The king was unmoved. You can see Zahar anytime. Go. Prince Carlos's eyes darkened. Fine. He turned to Alfred, tone stiff. Follow me. Alfred vispiret. Okay. The children came to the garden. The fountain gurgled, shaded by trees. A blonde girl waved. Carlos, come play tag. Alfred also smiled and waved. Other kids looked disdainful. That slowpoke is here. Alfred was awkward. I've been training. Prince Carlos chuckled. Is that so? Then Alfred, you be it. Alfred agreed immediately. Okay. The others turned and ran. A boy put his hands behind his head, looking smug. I won't be caught by you. Alfred sprinted forward. His palm slapped the boy's back. Caught you. He panted, face beaming with a smile. Let's play happily. Prince Carlos and the other children were stunned. Alfred, who is slower than a turtle, actually caught up. The caught boy shouted, "What's going on?" Alfred hopped on one foot proudly. I started hopping on one foot. Pretty amazing, right? Prince Carlos gritted his teeth. He suddenly tripped him. Alfred instantly lost his balance. He fell heavily on the ground. Prince Carlos bent down. He reached out. What happened? Are you okay? Alfred looked at that hand. Cheeks flushed. Thank you. He held Prince Carlos's hand. Prince Carlos's inner voice came through. I hate you. Hate you to death. Alfred's body shook violently. Pupils dilated, looking at the other person in shock. Maria held her chest. After greeting the king and the bishop, I'm getting nervous. She reached out to grab a wine glass. So thirsty. A hand grabbed her arm, pulled her back. Zahar looked at her. You can't speak after all, so stay by my side. Maria was slightly stunned. Is he worried about me? Zahar offered his arm. Maria looked at him in confusion. His cheeks flushed. What? Take my arm. We are a couple. This level is normal, right? She reached out and took it. Zahar turned his face away. Don't misunderstand. I hate it too. Maria glared at him. I knew it. He's such a jerk. The two walked side by side. Elegant posture, like a perfect pair. Whispers came from the crowd. Oh my, that notorious newlywed couple is here. Heard it's a political marriage. Isn't that woman the evil woman from the Dunn family? Maria could bear it no longer. I can hear you talking. A group of noble ladies surrounded them. Miss Maria, long time no see. I was so sad not seeing you recently. Maria was at a loss. What is this situation? The noble ladies clasped their hands. Congratulations on your marriage. You two really match. Zahar looked blank. What's going on? Maria thought. How would I know? A noble lady touched her chin. Miss Maria, you're the most beautiful today. The most beautiful in the world. Friends chimed in. Yes. Zahar frowned. Sorry, I have something to do. He turned and walked away quickly. Maria watched his back in shock. That guy ran away completely. Who said I should stay by his side? A noble lady praised. The jewelry you're wearing today is so beautiful. We want to wear jewelry like that too. Maria's eyes narrowed. Wait, are they after my jewelry? Maria sighed. Can't help it with you guys. She took out a handful of candy and handed it to them. Everyone looked surprised. Thank you, Miss Maria. They saw clearly what was in their hands. Looked confused. Candy? Maria turned and walked away, leaving the group of girls in place. Zahar stood alone on the side. Sure enough, she is two different people from before. The band played a waltz. The king announced loudly, then enjoy tonight's celebration. Pairs of nobles danced in the ballroom, spinning and intertwining. The king looked at Zahar. Duke Zahar, what are you doing? Go dance with your wife. Zahar put his hand on his chest, bowed slightly. Yes, your majesty. His majesty walked towards Maria. Maria was tasting red wine alone. Zahar reached out his hand. Let's dance together. Maria waved her hand. No need. Zahar's eyes were firm. This is his majesty's order. Please forgive my rudeness. He grabbed Maria's wrist, forcibly pulled her onto the dance floor. His hand rested on Maria's waist. I heard you dance well, but seems just SOSO. Maria screamed internally. What the hell is this guy doing? He's forcing me to dance. I did take ballroom dancing lessons. Flames ignited in Maria's eyes. Watch this. She spun her body abruptly. Her skirt flew up. The king looked at Zahar with interest. Zahar warned in a low voice, don't take the lead. You are not the leader. Follow my rhythm. Maria glared. I won't listen to you. The two danced gracefully, yet their movements were full of confrontation. In the eyes of others, their dance was intense and charming. A noble lady watched, mesmerized. This dance is so intense. Zahar gritted his teeth. We really are out of sync. Maria sneered. Likewise. She suddenly lifted her foot, stomped hard on Zahar's foot with her heel. Zahar's face turned pale, holding back the severe pain. Maria revealed a smug smile. She turned and left. I'll take my leave first. She walked alone to the balcony. The night breeze was slightly cool. It's a bit cold outside. Maria hugged her arms. Suddenly, she heard a commotion. Her pupils suddenly contracted. Alfred. Carlos reached out his hand. Are you okay? Alfred looked up. His eyes were full of tears. He held Carlos's hand. Carlos's inner voice came through. I hate you to death. Everyone hates you. Carlos froze on the spot. Did I do something wrong? Carlos said, I'll pull you up. His inner voice continued, I can't believe it. Someone like you is Zahar's son. Alfred knelt on the ground, teary-eyed. That voice again. Because you are as useless as your dead mother. Alfred's pupils shook. He suddenly threw off Carlos's hand. Don't speak ill of my mother. Carlos was caught off guard and fell backward. Alfred was stunned, looking at his own hands. Carlos sat on the ground. A look of shock. What are you doing? The guards ran over quickly. Your Highness. Carlos pointed at Alfred. How dare you throw me off? So rude. Alfred's voice trembled. But what's wrong with you? Because you are as useless as your dead mother. That sentence. Alfred recalled it in his mind. He knelt on the ground. Tears fell silently. Maria saw this scene from the balcony. She ran over quickly. What's wrong? What happened? Alfred couldn't stop crying. Maria looked at him, heart aching. Alfred suddenly threw himself into Maria's arms. Hug her tightly. Carlos said he fell, so I helped him, but he suddenly pushed me away. Another boy chimed in. That's right, that's right. It's all Alfred's fault. Maria's eyes were cold. Is that so? Alfred suddenly broke free. Pushed Maria's hand away. Maria exclaimed in surprise. Alfred turned and ran away. He curled up on the cold stone steps. The rain washed over him ruthlessly. No one understands how I feel. A red umbrella suddenly opened over his head, blocking the pouring rain. Maria sat down beside him, gently patted his back. I know you must have a reason. It doesn't matter if you don't want to say it, because I will always stand by your side. Alfred looked up. I let go of Prince Carlos's hand, because I didn't like it. Maria took out paper and pen. What exactly didn't you like? Alfred lowered his head. I can't say. Maria gazed at him. Alfred, what do you want to do? Alfred said softly, I want to say sorry. A gentle smile appeared at the corner of Maria's mouth. That's amazing. Alfred. She hugged Alfred, gently stroked his hair. Alfred walked up to Carlos. Bowed deeply. I'm sorry. Carlos crossed his arms, looking displeased if you do it again. I will never forgive you. Alfred clenched his fists. His fingertips trembled slightly. I want to become an amazing person. He looked up, his eyes determined. My father is amazing. My mother was also amazing. I want everyone to understand this. Carlos chuckled lightly, then work hard on it. Carlos looked at Alfred. So please, stop bullying people. Carlos paused for a moment. A man's voice rang out, Alfred. Alfred turned back in terror. Zahar walked over slowly, his face gloomy, fists clenched. He glared furiously. What do you think you were doing? Maria covered her mouth in shock. Alfred's eyes were full of fear and confusion. Zahar roared. What do you think you're doing? Alfred's cheeks flushed red, shaking all over. Maria shielded Alfred behind her. Zahar pushed her away. I don't have time for you right now. He glared at Alfred again. I heard you pushed His Highness the Prince. Why did you do that? Alfred bit his lip tightly. His body couldn't stop trembling. Zahar sighed. Really? He bowed deeply to Carlos. Your Highness, I'm deeply sorry. I will reprimand him severely. Please forgive my son's rudeness. Carlos turned his face away. I think he didn't mean it, so I don't blame him. Zahar bowed again. Thank you for your understanding. Please excuse me. We will take our leave for today. Zahar threw Alfred into a stone room. You have no self-awareness as a member of the Brown family. Reflect on it properly in here. Alfred's face was covered in tears. Father, I was wrong. The heavy wooden door closed in front of him, locking away the light and hope together. Maria stepped forward quickly. Zahar's eyes were cold. This is a necessary lesson. Don't interfere. Maria clenched her fists. Alfred didn't say anything, but there must be a reason. As long as I can figure it out. He won't be locked in the dark, cold cellar forever. Alfred curled up alone in the corner. It's so cold. Tears in his eyes. Sure enough, Father doesn't care about me at all. A knocking sound came. Alfred looked up. Maria's figure appeared behind the small window on the door. Alfred rushed to the door. Maria, why are you here? Maria handed a cloth bag through the iron bars. Alfred paused it. Bread? Did you bring it for me? Wait a minute. He struggled to drag a chair over. Stepped on it. He took the bread. I'm starving. Thank you. He touched Maria's hand. Maria's inner voice came through. I will stay with you all night tonight. I won't let you be alone. Alfred looked up. You can't. You should go back to your room and sleep. Maria's body suddenly stiffened. What? What does that mean? Alfred hurriedly covered his mouth. Looking nervous, the bread slipped from his hand, fell onto the cold stone floor. Maria was deep in thought. Does he know what I'm thinking? Maria's pupille contracted. Impossible. But I haven't said anything yet. What is going on? Alfred looked terrified. Did I expose myself? He spoke up. It's so strange. I felt like you would definitely come to find me. Maria. He watched Maria's reaction. It's no use. She knows completely. Maria was shocked, being able to read other people's thoughts. Impossible. But for some reason, I completely believe it. Thinking back, that time too, Alfred holding the teacup. There was rosemary in the tea. Maria stroked her chin. I see. He really has that kind of power. Quickly wrote a note. Passed it through the iron bars. You can read minds, right? Alfred took the note. It's not like that. Maria continued writing. Does this have to do with Prince Carlos? Alfred's answer was brief, no. He looked down at the note, looking guarded. Maria leaned against the door. This reaction, he really is wary. She wrote the last line, passed it in again. The note unfolded in Alfred's hands. "We are friends, right?" Alfred read those 2 words softly, cheeks slightly hot. "Friends." Maria extended her pinky finger through the gap in the iron bars. Alfred grabbed it. Maria's inner voice came through. "I won't tell anyone. I promise. Trust me. I will never betray you." Alfred's eyes shimmered with light. Tears swirled in his eyes. "Really?" Maria gazed at him gently. "Yes. I won't let you be alone anymore. Such a small child, carrying such a heavy secret alone. It must be very hard." Alfred broke down in tears instantly, crying heart-wrenchingly. A tear rolled down from the corner of Maria's eye. "Why am I crying too?" Alfred hooked her finger tightly. "I can hear other people's inner voices, as long as I touch them." Maria confirmed. "Only when touching." Alfred nodded, yes. He looked through teary eyes. "Are you afraid of me?" Maria's eyes were firm. "Not at all. But why did you treat Prince Carlos like that?" Alfred recalled the scene at that time. "Prince Carlos. He stuck out his foot to trip me. Then I fell. He pretended to reach out to help me. But just then," Alfred's eyes dimmed. "I heard his thoughts. He said in his heart that he hated me. But more importantly, he mocked me because of my mother." Maria listened quietly. Alfred's voice carried a sob. "I really hated that." He wiped away tears with the back of his hand. "Even though she is gone, my mom was so amazing. That's why I felt so wronged. So I pushed him away." Maria's eyes softened. "So that's what happened." Alfred said, "That's why I have to become an amazing person. That way everyone will know how amazing my mom was, right?" Maria finally understood. "So that's what you were thinking. I will cheer for you, Alfred." A bright smile bloomed on Alfred's face. He tightly held the note in his hand. "I'm really happy to become friends with you, Maria." Maria also smiled. "Let's work hard together from now on." Alfred responded cheerfully. "Okay." Footsteps came from behind, getting closer and closer. A tall figure walked over carrying an oil lamp. Maria turned around abruptly, her face full of shock. Zahar's voice was cold. "What are you doing here?" He frowned, scrutinizing Maria. "Your complexion looks terrible." Maria was indignant inside. "How can you say such things to a lady?" Zahar spoke again, his tone full of suspicion this time. "What are you plotting again?" Alfred suddenly shouted. "Maria only came because she was worried about me." Zahar raised an eyebrow. "Oh." Maria's eyes were sharp. "I wanted to help Alfred without this guy knowing. Looks like it won't be that easy." "Wait, Zahar, does he know about Alfred's ability?" Alfred's voice came from the cell. "Maria, don't tell father about my ability." Maria understood instantly. "I see. Instead of making up a clumsy lie, it's better to make him truly repent." She made up her mind. "Alfred, let's follow this plan." Alfred's eyes were determined. "Okay." Zahar questioned sharply. "What are you whispering about?" Alfred suddenly knelt down, his voice loud. "Father, I was wrong. I have reflected on it." He closed his eyes tightly, shouted with all his might. Zahar looked at him expressionlessly. He closed his eyes, seemed to be weighing things. "I understand." Zahar took out the key and opened the cell door. "You can come out." Alfred walked out of the cell, head down, not daring to look into his father's eyes. Zahar looked down at him, tone severe. "Listen well. You must never be rude to His Highness again. Next time, don't think about coming out of this room again." Alfred had tears in the corners of his eyes. He responded in a low voice, "Yes, father." Maria shielded Alfred behind her, glaring at Zahar. "This man, you have no idea what Alfred has gone through." Zahar's gaze became sharp. "Do you have any dissatisfaction?" Maria was furious. "Of course I do." It was clearly the other side who made the mistake first. She quickly wrote the truth on paper. It was Prince Carlos who tripped him first. Zahar's expression didn't change in the slightest. "That's not important, even if His Highness provoked first. As those who serve the royal family, we are absolutely not allowed to fight back." Maria looked at him in disbelief. She continued writing, "I understand your position, but shouldn't parents care about their own children? Is status more important than family affection? He is too pitiful." Zahar's eyes were cold. "I will say it again. Don't interfere with Alfred's education." Maria did not back down on this matter. "I will never give in." Alfred was anxious on the side. What to do? "I must stop them." He suddenly pointed out the window, loud a cry of surprise. "The moon is laughing." Maria and Zahar froze at the same time. "What?" But the moon just hung quietly in the sky. Maria lowered her head. "Forget it. I can never get through to this guy. For some reason, the fighting spirit from just now vanished instantly." Alfred held Maria's hand. Maria looked down at him. "Can you tell me more about your ability in the future?" Alfred blossomed with a brilliant smile. "Of course." Zahar held the lantern and watched them silently. Maria held Alfred's hand, turned, and left. Zahar looked confused. When did they start holding hands? Emilio walked into the study. With a smile, "It seems you have already let young Master Alfred Out. Zahar rested his chin on one hand. Yes. I originally planned to keep him locked up until tomorrow. But Melio saw through his thoughts. You speak as if you weren't worried at all. Zahar was restless, pacing back and forth in the room. Melio held back his laughter, really. You are so dishonest. He handed over a letter, Lord Zahar. This is for you. Zahar took the letter, opened the envelope. A summons from Marquis Dunn. Zahar's hand clenched suddenly. The letter paper was crumpled. He frowned. A trace of uneasiness flashed in his eyes. The carriage sped along the forest path. Alfred leaned out of the carriage window excitedly. Wow, so beautiful. Zahar reminded gently. Don't lean out. Alfred obediently sat back in his seat. He sat next to Maria, his face beaming with joy. This is our first time going out together. I'm so excited. Maria looked at him and revealed a faint smile. To be honest, she suddenly grabbed her skirt tightly, knuckles turning white. I'm not happy at all, because the place we are going to now is my home. Maria's face darkened. Just going to that notorious place is already disgusting enough. The Brown family and their family have a long-standing grudge. Maria closed her eyes, sighed deeply. There are too many things to worry about. I don't know what will happen. The three stood in front of a magnificent manor. Zahar said, then let's go in. The three walked into the manor gate. 2 rows of maids have been waiting for a long time. They greeted in unison. Welcome. Marquis Dunn walked down the stairs. Sorry for calling you over so suddenly. He was all smiles. Long time no see. So glad to see you. Maria subconsciously covered her mouth, his face. He is definitely a villain. This is my father. Zahar nodded slightly. Long time no see. You look hale as well. Marquis Dunn said, you haven't changed much either, Zahar. His gaze swept over Maria. Maria looks like she's doing well too. He stared at Maria. Are you getting along well with Zahar? Maria's face stiffened instantly. Marquis Dunn turned around. Sit down. Let's have a good chat. Maria looked depressed. We haven't even greeted properly yet. What a nasty person. Everyone took their seats. The atmosphere was heavy. Maria handed over a note. It read for some reason. I cannot speak. Marquis Dunn let out a cold laugh. I didn't expect. The Maria I knew actually became a mute. He turned to Zahar. Zahar, my child, I'm so sorry. My daughter has caused you such great trouble. She is my beloved daughter. Please take good care of her. Maria's pupils contracted suddenly. Beloved daughter? The person who sent me away as a hostage still has the face to say such things. Her hands clenched on her lap, knuckles white. Zahar spoke, his tone flat. She is not trouble at all. She just can't speak. Maria was stunned. He is defending me. Maria roared in her heart. What does this bastard mean? Marquis Dunn crossed his legs. Change the subject, Zahar. There is a small matter I want your help with. To be honest, I am considering expanding my mining business, but without the king's permission. I can't do anything, so I want to borrow your wisdom. What do you think? Maria tapped her lower lip lightly. He gets straight to the point, but I can't figure out his intentions. If it is treason, the king's opinion doesn't matter. Does he want to use Zahar to curry favor with the king? Zahar's gaze was sharp. What exactly are you trying to say? Marquis Dunn waved his hand. I don't want you to answer right away. First, to let you understand the situation, I want you to visit the mining area. Zahar's eyes moved slightly. If that's the case, I'm just considering our country's mining industry. Marquis Dunn laughed heartily. Exactly. That's it. You really are a smart man. He grinned, revealing an uncomfortable smile. I can't wait to see the child of you and Maria. Maria's face turned pale. You cunning old fox. Alfred is still here. How dare you say such things? Marquis Dunn turned to Alfred. You must be very lonely alone. Alfred was at a loss. Maria pulled him into her arms. With this child accompanying me, I'm doing very well. Alfred snuggled close to her, tears welling up in his eyes. Marquis Dunn laughed contemptuously. Are you unable to speak too? Zahar was expressionless. No, his voice was steady. Alfred only speaks to people he trusts. The atmosphere solidified instantly. Marquis Dunn narrowed his eyes, then laughed again. I see. Then as a gift for our first meeting, let me buy you something. Little guy, is there anything you want? Alfred buried his face in Maria's arms, body trembling slightly. A silver-haired young man walked over. He was wearing an exquisite green vest, a gentle smile on his face. Father, that's enough. The silver-haired young man's gaze was gentle. You are making Alfred uncomfortable. He knelt on one knee to be at eye level with Alfred. Are you scared? I'm sorry. Alfred's cheeks were slightly red. Looking at him quietly, the silver-haired young man stood up, hand on chest, bowing Duke Brown. Little Alfred, thank you for coming all this way. He turned sideways and reached out. Dinner is ready. Please follow me. The atmosphere at the dining table was subtle. Maria looked at the young man opposite. This must be my brother, Daniel. As a member of the Dunn family, he looks very ordinary. The table was filled with sumptuous dishes. Alfred forked a piece of meat and put it in his mouth, cheeks bulging with satisfaction. He whispered praise, delicious. Daniel responded with a smile, I'm glad you like it. Maria ate quietly. A voice came, Dear Maria, has your taste in clothes changed? The jewelry on you is pitifully scarce. Maria looked at the source of the voice. This must be Maria's mother. The Marchioness unfolded the red fan in her hand. The rings on her fingers were sparkling. Maria complained in her heart, You're the one wearing too much jewelry. The Marchioness continued, No wonder you are listless. Can't even speak. Maria's forehead bulged slightly. What kind of logic is that? Marquis Dunn turned to Zahar. Regarding our previous discussion, shall we go inspect the mining area tomorrow? Maria touched her lower lip lightly. I really want to see the mines of this world. She put her hand on Alfred. I also plan to go to the mine tomorrow. Will you be okay here alone? Alfred's cheeks flushed. I will go wherever Maria goes. Alfred turned to Zahar. Father, I want to see the mine too. A trace of surprise flashed in Zahar's eyes. This is not like you. Seeing these things with your own eyes is important. Shall we go together? Alfred nodded vigorously. Yes. He looked at Maria. Let's go together. Daniel chuckled lightly. Maria is not interested in mines. She used to always say she hated getting dirty. Maria picked up a pen, wrote a few words on a card. She held up the card. I'm going too. The smile on Daniel's face froze. Mother and father also showed surprised expressions. Daniel forced a smile. You really have changed. In that case, let me be your guide. The carriage traveled on the rugged mountain road. Mountains stretched endlessly in the distance. Daniel's voice came from inside the carriage. We will arrive soon. Alfred lay by the carriage window, eyes shining, so spectacular. This is the Balt's silver mine, the country's largest source of income. The carriage stops. Workers are toiling in the mining area. Some are studying blueprints. Some are struggling to push mine carts. The group gets off the carriage. Daniel introduces the place as they walk. A black stone rolls down. The crisp sound catches Maria's attention. Maria bends down to pick up the stone and examines it closely. It is an unpolished ore. Maria gazes at the ore in her hand. Could the stone be tin ore? Silver mines occasionally produce tin ore. It is entirely possible. If we can obtain tin in addition to silver, the country's revenue will increase significantly. Maria looks at Zahar and Daniel in the distance. She squats down and hands the ore to Alfred. This is tin ore. I want them to know. Alfred's eyes light up. Leave it to me. He runs towards Zahar holding the ore. Look at this stone. There's a beautiful stone here. Zahar takes the ore. Indeed, this kind of ore is uncommon. Daniel also nods in agreement. That is true. He takes the ore from Zahar's hand, but since it's not silver or just throw it away. He casually tosses the ore into the air. The ore traces an arc in the air and lands on the ground. Maria's heart tightens. What should I do? She picks up the stone. I'll borrow this for a while. Alfred shouts excitedly. There's a shiny stone over there too. He turns and runs towards a deep, dark cave entrance. Maria's expression changes. Wait, she immediately chases after him. A miner sees this and turns pale with fright. That cave is dangerous. Zahar turns around at the sound. The miner explains anxiously. That cave could collapse at any moment. Zahar snatches the oil lamp from the miner's hand. Excuse me. He rushes towards the cave without hesitation, shouting as he runs, Alfred, come back. Alfred keeps running. The cave shakes violently. A stone falls from above. Alfred looks terrified. Maria's pupils contract suddenly. Is it an earthquake? Maria screams internally. Are we trapped here? What do we do in a place like this? I don't want to die here. A cry pierces the darkness. Maria crashes into an embrace. She finds herself lying in Zahar's arms. Zahar asks with concern, Are you all right? Maria looks at him. In the end, it was Zahar who saved me. Suddenly she remembers something. Wait, where's Alfred? Maria's face goes pale. Did he get lost? Zahar stands up. Excuse me. He holds the oil lamp high. Maria's gaze falls on his arm. Blood has stained his sleeve red. He's injured. She looks at Zahar's wound with anxiety. Zahar turns his face away. I'm Fine. We have to find Alfred. He shouts anxiously, Alfred, if you can hear me, answer me. Maria clasps her hands tightly. Where is he exactly? No matter where, please be safe. A faint voice comes from behind a rock wall. I'm here. Zahar immediately looks in the direction of the sound. Are you okay? Are you injured? Alfred responds, I'm Fine. Maybe. Zahar sighs in relief. Thank goodness. It seems he is conscious. He shouts to Alfred, I'm coming to save you right now. Wait a moment. It looks like I can get to the other side by climbing over these. He turns to Maria. Please stay here. Zahar reaches out, preparing to climb. Maria gasps. She sees the wound on his arm tear open again. Maria grabs Zahar. Zahar looks confused. What are you doing? Maria tears off the sleeve of her shirt. This is just first aid, but it's better than nothing. She ties the cloth strip tightly around Zahar's wound. Zahar looks at her and whispers, "Thank you." He then turns and begins to climb the rocks. Maria holds up the oil lamp to light his way. Zahar finally climbs to Alfred's side. He reaches out his hand. "Come here. You are safe now." Alfred throws himself into Zahar's arms, hugging him tightly. Zahar gently strokes his head. "All right. You climb up first." He lifts Alfred up, letting him climb onto the rock first. He protects Alfred from below. Reaching the top of the rock, he peeks out. Maria lets out a long sigh of relief. Thank goodness. As long as he can get down safely. Suddenly, the cave shakes violently again. Maria's expression changes drastically. Aftershocks. Alfred slips, his body instantly losing balance. He lets out a scream. Maria screams in terror. Alfred. Alfred teeters on the edge of the rock. He looks down in confusion. Maria? Maria opens her arms. "Jump down from there. I will definitely catch you." A glint of trust flashes in Alfred's eyes. He nods gently. "Okay." He leaps. His body traces an arc in the air, falling straight towards Maria's embrace. Maria catches him steadily, hugging him tightly. Maria asks urgently, "Alfred, are you injured? Are you okay?" Alfred replies, "I'm fine." "But your voice. You just call my name." Maria freezes. "What?" She speaks subconsciously. "That's right. My voice is back." She places her hand on her chest. "Because I was too anxious, I didn't even realize." Zahar jumps down from the rock. He looks at Maria. "So, your voice has really returned." Maria clasps her hands together. "I think so. Probably because I was in a rush to call out to Alfred, so my voice came back." She gently strokes Alfred's cheek. Alfred smiles brightly. "That's great. I'm so happy your voice is back." Maria hugs him. "Thank you, Alfred." The sound of falling rocks comes from the top of the cave. A beam of light pierces the darkness. The figures of several miners appear at the entrance. They are digging frantically. Everyone is here. They are safe. Maria looks up at the light. "We are finally saved." Night falls. The mansion is silent under the moonlight. Alfred is lying in bed, sleeping soundly, drooling. Maria gently covers him with a blanket. She gazes at his sleeping face. "You did very well today." She walks to the door and looks back. "Good night." Maria gently closes the door and lets out a long sigh. "All right, now I have to think about how to deal with Zahar. So, should I go find him?" Maria walks to a door and knocks gently. "It's Maria. May I come in?" A voice comes from inside. "Come in." Maria pushes the door open. Zahar is sitting by the window. He looks back. "Is something the matter?" Maria holds up the medical kit in her hand. "I came to treat your wound. You're injured, right?" Zahar says, "I'm fine. It's not a serious injury." Maria frowns. "Don't joke. It will be too late if we wait until we get home tomorrow. Don't be stubborn. Come here and sit down." Zahar sighs helplessly. He sits next to Maria. "I told you I'm fine." An image from the past surfaces in Maria's mind. Alfred crying and shouting. It hurts. A hint of a smile appears at the corner of her mouth. He and Alfred really are father and son, always hating to have wounds treated. "All right, let me see the injured shoulder." Zahar unbuttons his shirt and pulls it down, revealing a firm chest and abdominal muscles. Maria's cheeks instantly flush red. "Wait, this is too. The muscles are amazing." Zahar turns around. His back is covered in terrifying bruises. Maria freezes. "It's worse than I thought." She says softly, "I'm sorry. It's all my fault." Zahar retorts immediately, "You didn't do anything wrong. That was my own decision." His voice carries a hint of warmth. "And the first aid you did was very useful." Maria smiles with relief. "I'm glad I could help. Thanks to you, I can sit here safely now." She opens the medical kit. "Don't hide your wounds anymore." Zahar insists, "It's really nothing." Maria puffs out her cheeks. "So stubborn." Zahar says, "More importantly, if something happened to that child, I really couldn't bear it." Maria's eyes become gentle. "Yes, I feel the same way." She pours medicine onto the gauze. Zahar's body trembles slightly. Maria asks softly, "What's wrong?" Zahar recalls a scene from the past. "Back then, I thought you were the one who pushed Alfred down. Now I know that was just a misunderstanding. I want to apologize for what happened back then." Maria is somewhat surprised. "He is more accepting than I thought." She smiles slyly. She suddenly presses the gauze, soaked in medicine, onto Zahar's wound. Zahar groans in pain. Maria laughs. "Now we are even." The two look at each other and smile. The sun is shining brightly in front of the marquee, Dunn's residence. Daniel smiles. "You really suffered this time." "I'm very sorry." Zahar bows slightly. "I'm grateful to everyone who came to save us." Daniel adds, "And thanks to this accident, Maria's voice has recovered. It's truly a miracle." Maria smiles. Yes, I was shocked too, but I'm relieved now. Daniel's gaze becomes sharp. After getting married, you really changed a lot. You're like a completely different person. Maria's smile freezes. Is that so? She pulls Alfred and hurriedly boards the carriage. We'll take our leave first. Before he gets suspicious, we have to leave quickly. I will never come to Maria's family home again. The carriage slowly drives away, leaving the magnificent mansion behind. The three return to their residence. Emilio runs over hurriedly. Lord Zahar. He stops in front of Zahar, looking panicked. I apologize for disturbing you just as you arrived. Zahar asks calmly, what is it? Emilio speaks urgently. We just received a report. A silver ship on a diplomatic mission. Capsized in a storm. Zahar's pupils constrict. He whispers in disbelief, what? Zahar pursues, what about the crew? Are they safe? Emilio replies, yes, fortunately everyone survived, but the large amount of silver on board that has completely disappeared. Zahar rests his chin on his hand. I see. We need to find a replacement urgently. Does His Majesty know? Emilio shakes his head. I don't think so yet. Zahar turns around. Understood. This is a diplomatic crisis. Go to the palace immediately. He walks quickly towards the carriage. He says to Maria, I'll be out for a while. Maria looks bewildered. What? But you just got back. Zahar speaks urgently. It's an emergency. Please take care of Alfred. Maria watches him go, her eyes full of worry. Of course. Be careful on the road. She gently strokes Alfred's back. The two watch the carriage disappear at the estate gate. Back at the mansion, Maria collapses onto the sofa in exhaustion. So tired. Alfred is beside her, his small face written with worry. Will father be okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Maria looks at him. I'm not sure either. She gently pulls Alfred into her arms, letting him rest his head on her lap. He mentions some complicated work matters. The only thing we can do is wait. Alfred lies quietly, his breathing gradually becoming steady. Maria pauses slightly. Alfred suddenly opens his eyes. He giggles. Maria opens her mouth wide. He's just too cute. I didn't like children before. But Alfred, he is really special. Alfred's eyes shine. Am I really special? Maria answers affirmatively. Yes. After all, you possess an incredible gift. Alfred climbs up from her lap. Mother and grandmother also had the same power. But I must keep it a secret, because it's dangerous. Maria looks thoughtful. So you inherited it from your mother. That's right. Mind reading is easily abused. Alfred lowers his eyes. But it also has a bad side. He covers his face with his hands, curling up into a ball. Vicious words ring in his ears. It would be better if he wasn't here. He should disappear. He is just pretending to be good. I wish he would die. Alfred's voice carries exhaustion. I also hear many hateful voices, so I try not to get close to anyone. Maria's heart tightens. That must be painful. Alfred suddenly raises his head, his eyes bright. He leans close to Maria, a bright smile blossoming on his face. But because of this power, I can be closer to Maria. This makes me very happy. He hugs Maria tightly, burying his face in her chest. Maria is stunned, tears welling up at her eyes. What a sweetheart. Alfred pokes his head out from her arms. I also hope father can rest well. Maria looks gloomy. Yes, me too. Her thoughts drift away. That silver transport ship capsized. I remember Zahar mentioned finding a replacement. Maria wakes up with a start. That's it. It's that. She unfolds a handkerchief. Inside lies a piece of tin, or quietly, shimmering faintly. Maybe this can solve the problem. Maria and Alfred arrive at a magnificent library. Towering bookshelves reach the ceiling. Alfred gasps in amazement. Wow, there are so many books here. He clenches his fists, eyes shining with excitement. Maria smiles and places a stack of books on the table. With this much information, we will definitely find the answer. The two begin to bury their heads in study. Time passes. Maria rests her chin on her hand, looking tired. Alfred is also drowsy. Maria suddenly flips open a heavy ancient book. Found it. On the page is a drawing of that black stone. This is it. Maria examines the stone in her hand carefully. It has a metallic luster. The color is between brown and black, with yellowish spots. A smile blossoms on her face. That's right. This is tin. Alfred jumps up happily. Maria quickly signals him to be quiet. She'll keep it down. Maria looks at the tin, or in her hand, her mind racing. Tin can be used to make various products, from goblets to tableware. This is enough to develop into a complete industry. She stands up. Looking at Alfred, let's go back. The two return to the estate. Emilio comes up to greet them. Miss Maria, welcome back. Where did you go? Maria holds Alfred's hand. We went to the library. By the way, is Zahar back? Emilio looks troubled. He is back, but I suggest you don't disturb him for now. Maria's gaze is sharp. Is it because of the sunken ship? Emilio clears his throat. No, he just has too much to do and is too busy. Maria turns to leave. Then, I'll leave Alfred to you. Maria walks to a door and knocks gently. She pushes the door open. It's me. Zahar is sitting at the desk, holding his forehead, looking exhausted. Sorry, I'm a bit busy right now. Maria walks into the study, her steps firm. I have something to say to you. I just need a moment. I found something I want to discuss with you. She unfolds the handkerchief and hands the piece of tin to Zahar. Zahar examines it carefully. This is from back then. Maria says, that's right. I've always been curious about this stone, so I looked it up. Her tone is firm. This is undoubtedly tin. Zahar slams the table. You said tin? Maria introduces, the Balt mines are rich in reserves. Under certain circumstances, its value is no less than silver. Zahar frowns. What do you mean? Maria holds up a finger. It is more malleable than silver and easier to process. It can be used to make wine glasses, water pitchers, and even tableware. And much, much more. And it doesn't rust. The color lasts. The surface is smooth. And it has a low melting point, making it easy to manufacture. Zahar rests his chin on his hand, falling into deep thought. So, this mineral has been under our feet all along. Maria lifts her chin proudly. That's right. If things go well, this could become a major industry for our country. Zahar looks at her scrutinizingly. But how do you know all this? Maria's smile freezes. Oops, I let it slip. She laughs awkwardly, trying to gloss it over. I was born in the Dunn family, which owns the Balt mines. So learning about minerals was important to me. Zahar's expression remains calm. I am surprised. Based on the rumors I heard before, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person at all. The image of the vicious Maria from the past overlaps and separates from the intelligent woman before him. Zahar looks up, a hint of a smile in his eyes. It seems we all misunderstood you, including me. Maria covers her mouth and chuckles. That's right. Don't underestimate me. I can't exactly say it's thanks to my past life working in a manufacturing company. Zahar takes off his glasses. You've been surprising me lately, constantly exceeding my expectations. Maria tilts her head. Is that a compliment? Zahar answers affirmatively. Yes. Actually, I have been looking for something comparable in value to silver, because the diplomatic gift sent to Halim sank in that accident. I am responsible for diplomatic matters and have been troubled by finding a substitute. Maria's eyes light up. So, this method is really feasible? I will write to my brother immediately. Since it concerns the family business, they should reply quickly. Zahar looks at the tin in his hand. I'm really grateful. Maria smiles. After all, you saved me in the cave. In times of danger, we should help each other. I'll go right to my brother now. As she takes a step, her foot accidentally kicks a pile of books. Her body instantly loses balance. She cries out and falls forward. Zahar turns abruptly. Maria. He dashes forward and catches her steadily in his arms. Zahar's arm wraps tightly around Maria's waist. Their bodies are pressed close enough to feel each other's breath. Maria's cheeks turn red instantly. This is too close, and his hand is on my waist. Zahar looks down at her, his tone flat. You're quite heavy. Maria burns with anger. How rude. She pushes Zahar away abruptly. Thank you for saving my life. I'm leaving now. Zahar watches her storm off, somewhat bewildered. Okay. I just want to say she is healthy. I wanted to be euphemistic. Zahar opens a box. Inside is a pair of exquisite tin goblets. Maria picks one up. So beautiful. I want one too. Zahar smiles. I'm glad you like it. This crisis has benefited the country instead. His Majesty is very happy. I also reported to His Majesty that this idea was yours. Maria waves her hands hurriedly. I really didn't do anything. I just share a little knowledge about minerals. To be honest, I'm afraid of the backlash that comes with fame. Just like my boss in my previous life who got demoted. She looks at Zahar. But didn't you propose using it for diplomacy? Zahar says, I just wanted His Majesty to know. You are not the villainess from the rumors, but someone who truly cares about the country's future. So please accept this. Maria's cheeks blush slightly. Is this Zahar's way of acknowledging me? For some reason, my mood suddenly improved. I'm one step closer to avoiding the death ending. Alfred looks at her expressionlessly. As always, Maria deflates instantly. Forget it. My road is still long. Zahar clears his throat. Regarding the products Miss Maria proposed, Tin wine glasses and ornaments are very popular in the city. Because tin doesn't rust easily and is easy to shape, many manufacturers are interested in it. Maria sits up straight. Is that so? That's great. This not only protects national interests, but also brings huge benefits to the Dunn family. Maria hesitates. Regarding my family, did my father say anything? Zahar's eyes are gentle. Marquis Dunn? Maria nods. Yes, I was worried this incident would cause trouble for His Majesty. Zahar says, nothing special. The tin comes from the Dunn family's territory. Your family's profits have also been adjusted accordingly. Maria sighs in relief. That's really great. My father is insatiably greedy. I was always worried he would cause you trouble. Zahar says, I'm surprised. I didn't expect you to speak of your father like that. Maria gives a dry laugh. I can't tell him I'm not actually the real Maria. She stands up. All right, let's stop here for today. I'm going to write a thank you letter to my brother, thanking him for mediating. Maria sits alone at the desk. The pen scratches on the letter paper. She sighs lightly. It's good that Daniel is there. It's truly a miracle that the Dunn family has such a decent person. She puts down the pen, her gaze passing through the curtains. The figure of a blond boy catches her eye. He is walking alone in the woods. His back looks lonely. Alfred, where's he going? Maria's pen hovers, unable to write. She looks out the window. The weather is really bad. Rapid footsteps approach. A maid pushes the door open, panting. Miss Maria, sorry to disturb your rest. Maria stands up. What is it? The maid reports anxiously. Have you seen young Master Alfred? We've searched the whole mansion. We can't find him anywhere. Maria's heart tightens. Her hand unconsciously clutches the fabric at her chest. An image flashes through her mind. Alfred walking alone into the wind and rain. Could it be? Zahar frowns. In this kind of storm, I don't think he would go there. Maria puts on a cloak. I saw Alfred heading towards the forest earlier today. Zahar asks why. Maria looks worried. I don't know, but I feel there is something there. Emilio runs over quickly. Lord Zahar, he is out of breath. We searched the entire mansion again. Still haven't found him. Maria is burning with anxiety. We must go find him. Zahar stops her. Wait, I'll go with you. It's too dangerous for you alone. Emilio tries to dissuade them. It's too dangerous for both of you. Please leave it to us. Zahar refuses flatly. No. He presses his hand to his chest. I am Alfred's father. I must go. Emilio lowers his eyes. Understood. Zahar turns to leave with Maria. Zahar says, try to hide behind me. That way I can block some of the rain. Maria whispers thanks. Thank you. She suddenly points ahead. Over there, behind that tree on the right. Alfred shivered in the rain, holding a small white kitten tightly in his arms. He looked up at Maria and his father with teary eyes. Maria rushed to him regardless of everything. Zahar followed, furious. How could you run out in this weather? What on earth were you thinking? Alfred's voice was weak. This kitten, because of the storm, I wanted to protect him. Zahar's anger grew even more. That doesn't matter. Alfred trembled, frightened by his father's roar. Zahar immediately commanded, put the cat down. Go home right now. Alfred shook his head stubbornly. No, if I put it down, this little guy will die. Maria reached out, her voice gentle. It's okay, Alfred. She gently stroked Alfred's head. Let's take him home together. Alfred's eyes filled with tears. The kitten too? Maria smiled and nodded. Yes. The most important thing now is to get home quickly, right? Zahar sighed. Indeed. Let's go back. The group hurried back to the mansion. Maria immediately ordered the maid, prepare hot water at once. Let Alfred take a bath immediately. She turned to Alfred. Give the cat to me. You go warm up. Alfred asked uneasily. You won't throw it away, will you? Maria's eyes were firm. I won't. I promise. Go quickly. Maria watched Alfred being taken away by the maid, then turned around. She carefully washed the kitten with warm water and gently dried it with a towel. A smile played on her lips. You are so lucky to meet an angel like Alfred. Zahar's voice rang out from behind. Miss Maria. Maria turned back. Zahar. Zahar looked coldly at the cat in her hands. Stray cats may carry diseases and be harmful to humans. Please throw it out immediately. Maria's gaze turned stern. I can't do that. He promised Alfred. Zahar's tone was forceful. I am a master of this house. We cannot keep it here. Maria raised her voice. Wait, this is the cat Alfred desperately protected. I know keeping it has risks, but I won't let anyone touch him. Her eyes were determined. I will take full responsibility. Zahar looked at her in silence. He sighed. Really, I will call a veterinarian. Until then, I leave it to you. Maria looked at his back and whispered thanks. Late at night, Alfred lay in bed, an ice pack on his forehead. His cheeks were flushed with fever. He opened his eyes with effort. Maria stood by the bed holding the kitten. Alfred, are you okay? Alfred coughed a few times. I'm fine. How is the kitten? Maria brought the kitten close to him. He is fine, so you can sleep peacefully. Alfred revealed a relieved smile. Thank you. He slowly closed his eyes. Maria watched him fall into a deep sleep, a gratified smile appearing on her face. Zahar was standing behind her unbeknownst to her. Miss Maria, is Alfred asleep? Maria answered softly. He just fell asleep. He must be exhausted from the cold. Zahar sat on the edge of the bed and reached out to feel Alfred's forehead. He sighed in relief. Fortunately, the fever isn't too high. Maria looked at his profile. He seemed to have a shred of kindness after all. The kitten suddenly broke free from Maria's arms, leaped up, and landed on Zahar. Zahar was startled. Hey, get down. Don't climb on me. He flusteredly tried to get the cat off. Maria couldn't help but laugh out loud. Zahar shouted in embarrassment. Don't just laugh. Help me quickly. Maria suppressed her laughter and stepped forward to grab the kitten. She smiled. I want to know more about you. Can we talk? Zahar sat opposite Maria. What do you want to talk about? Maria considered her words. I've always been curious. Why are you so strict with Alfred? Zahar said. The Brown family have been vassals to the royal family for generations. He must become someone worthy of this position. Maria retorted anxiously. I understand, but he is only 5 years old. Zahar interrupted her, his tone decisive. Exactly. He must realize this from a young age. Maria asked, were you like this too? Zahar lowered his eyes. Yes, I received special training from my father every day. Memories flooded back. His father scolded sternly. Can't even do this well? Do it again. Young Zahar lay on the ground, sweat soaking his forehead and hair. He swung his sword with all his might, again and again. He looked at his father with expectation. Father, I did it. The man was expressionless. Don't be smug about such a small thing. You have no talent. Young Zahar hung his head, the wooden sword in his hand becoming heavy. I'm sorry. Zahar said, I never felt training was a hateful thing, but I often felt lonely. Father's figure was always so distant. Maria looked thoughtful. Then, perhaps being strict like your father isn't the best way. Her own past thoughts flashed through her mind. I will grind him down ruthlessly. Her face grew hot. Well, I guess I have no right to talk about others. Zahar clasped his hands. I don't want him to die. Maria's expression froze. Zahar's voice was heavy and distant. My father died, protecting the king. Even someone as strong as him lost his life. How can any amount of training be enough? I've already lost too much. Maria's heart stirred. I see. Zahar also lost his wife. She said softly, so that's what you were thinking. Actually, Alfred is a wonderful child. Maybe your way of raising him isn't wrong. A gentle smile appeared at the corner of Zahar's mouth. That is all thanks to my late wife. Alfred is very much like her. Maria was somewhat surprised. Really? She must have been a wonderful person. Zahar gazed at her, an indescribable emotion flowing in his eyes. Maria felt a bit uncomfortable under his gaze. What? Zahar suddenly snapped back to reality. His cheeks flushed. He cleared his throat. Nothing. I just think you've changed a lot. You're like a different person from before. After all, you were a notorious villainess. Maria's smile froze on her face. Villainous. Although that was the original plot setting, being told that to my face is still quite a blow. Also, Zahar's gaze turned to the distance where Alfred lay in bed. His small figure looked lonely. That child talks more lately. Maria lowered her head slightly, a blush rising on her cheeks. I really hope Alfred can see this side of him too. Zahar sat at his desk. Sunlight fell on the documents, but he couldn't concentrate. Maria's gentle, smiling face lingered in his mind. He took off his glasses and leaned back in his chair, covering his face with his hands. I can't focus. Suddenly, the door was pushed open violently. Maria rushed in. She looked panicked. Zahar, she panted. It's an emergency. Sunlight poured onto the bustling street. Rows of buildings lined the way. Alfred's eyes shone. Wow, so many shops. He ran forward excitedly. Melio chased anxiously behind him. Master Alfred, you can't run off alone. Zahar looked at Maria. You said it was urgent. I thought something happened. But why did you suddenly want to come to town? Maria closed her eyes, the corners of her mouth curving up slightly. Isn't it obvious? She extended a finger and gently poked Zahar's chin. We're here to buy gifts. Maria stood in front of a giant Christmas tree, carefully arranging ornaments. This should be about right. Alfred walked over with toddling steps, holding the kitten. He looked up at the magnificent Christmas tree, his eyes twinkling with wonder. Amazing. He looked at Maria, his eyes full of expectation. Can I decorate too? Maria smiled and bent down. Of course you can. Alfred stood on tiptoes and carefully hung a bough on a branch. He said excitedly to the kitten, Milk. This tree is so pretty. Milk narrowed his eyes and let out a satisfied meow. Maria watched this scene and said softly, "It seems he likes the name Milk." Alfred hugged Milk happily. "Yes." Maria's gaze was gentle. To be able to celebrate Christmas, it feels like a dream. Our family never celebrated holidays before. Alfred looked up, curiosity shining in his eyes. "Are there any other activities for Christmas?" Maria's movements froze. She looked shocked. What? Has Alfred never celebrated properly before? Maria fell into thought. After all, his mother just passed away last year. The accumulation of these small things might lead Alfred toward darkness. Moreover, Maria and Zahar walked side by side on the street. She crossed her arms. "Anyway, this year is for Alfred. I just want to ensure he can have some happy memories." Alfred waved excitedly ahead. "Maria, Papa, hurry, hurry." Maria smiled and responded, "Coming." She squatted down to be at eye level with Alfred. Both their faces were beaming with happy smiles. Zahar watched them, a warm current surging in his heart. This year's Christmas seemed like it would be wonderful. Maria asked, "Alfred, is there anything you want?" Alfred hesitated. He turned his head. Maria followed his gaze. The stall was full of all kinds of lollipops. A knowing smile appeared on her face. "So you want this? How cute." Alfred's cheeks turned even redder. He lowered his head, his voice tiny but firm. "I want Maria to pick clothes for me." Maria was stunned. She nodded slightly. "I understand." The three left the candy stall. Alfred tried on various cute children's outfits. Each one fit so perfectly. Maria clenched her fists. "It looks too cute in everything. Damn it, I can't choose just one set." Maria piled a huge mound of clothes in front of the shop assistant. She pointed at the small mountain. "We'll take all of these. Is that okay?" Zahar sighed helplessly. "I really can't help it with you." Maria smiled at Zahar. "There happens to be a shop I want to visit. Can I leave for a moment?" Zahar's eyes held a smile. "You can. We'll stay here for a while. Go ahead." Maria held the cat-shaped lollipop in her hand, unable to hide the smile on her face. Alfred will definitely be very happy." She turned and walked into a small alley, her steps light. Suddenly, a hand reached out from the darkness and roughly grabbed Maria's wrist. The lollipop flew out of her hand. Maria was shoved hard against the wall, hitting the cold bricks. Intense pain shot through her. She closed her eyes in pain. A fierce-looking stranger blocked her way. He grinned. "Found you." Maria's pupils constricted. That murder commission. What on earth is going on? The alley was empty. Only that lollipop lay quietly on the cold stone ground. Maria raised her hands to protect herself, her voice trembling. "You must have the wrong person." The stranger stepped closer, his eyes scornful. "You came to us." Maria's face instantly went pale. What are you talking about?" The stranger said, "You said you'd notify us of the date later, and then you disappeared." Maria's pupils dilated in shock. "You really are mistaken." The stranger held up a photo. In the photo was Alfred hugging a cat doll. "Don't play dumb. Didn't you want this kid dead?" Maria's breathing stopped. "What?" The stranger laughed even more triumphantly. "Remember now? I remember your face clearly. Half a year ago, you came to find us." Maria was wearing a black cloak, the hood covering most of her face, revealing only strands of silver hair. She stood in a dark room, facing two men. She handed over a photo. It was that one of Alfred. "Please help me kill this person." She pushed a bag of coins onto the table, her voice icy. "Make it clean. Don't leave. Any traces." The stranger weighed the coin bag and grinned. "This money isn't enough." Maria's voice was steady. "Of course, this is just a deposit. After it's done, I will pay a large sum." The man gestured. "This way, please follow me." He led Maria through the dim room. They sat down by the fireplace. Maria pulled down her hood. She complained with disgust. "That brat is really annoying. He's just a kid, but he always looks at me with that knowing look. And it's his fault I can't have children." The stranger agreed in a low voice. Indeed, a trace of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. "Annoying guys are better off removed, aren't they?" The corner of Maria's mouth curled into a smile. "We get along quite well, don't we?" She reached out and gently touched the man's chin. "Then, I leave it to you." Maria covered her mouth with her hand, her body trembling with fear. The original Maria. She actually commissioned someone to murder Alfred? It's simply unreasonable. How could she be so despicable? Maria took a deep breath and looked straight at the stranger. "I'm sorry. Please cancel that commission." The stranger looked baffled. "What are you talking about?" Maria waved her hands urgently. "The money I already paid, you can keep it." The stranger revealed a greedy smile. "We spent the deposit long ago, so we need a large payment. You have to pay more." Maria widened her eyes. "It doesn't matter. Just cancel it, please." The man's rough hand suddenly covered her mouth, blocking her pleas. Maria's body went limp. The man's eyes were gloomy and cold. Are you playing with us? I don't care what troubles you have. The stranger shouldered the unconscious Maria and strode away. Meanwhile, the wall clock in Eve's shop ticked. Zahar frowned. She is too late. Where did she go? Alfred tugged at Zahar's coat hem. Sister Maria might be lost. Let's go find her. Zahar looked at Alfred. I think she will come back, but I'm indeed a bit worried about her. He took Alfred's hand. Let's go find her. Okay? Alfred nodded vigorously. Okay. The two walked onto the street. Alfred cupped his small hand around his mouth and shouted, Maria? Zahar asked a vendor, hello. Have you seen a woman with silver hair? The vendor shook his head. No, no recollection. Zahar whispered thanks. I understand. Thank you. Alfred stopped. He saw a lollipop lying on the ground, exquisitely wrapped with a golden bow tied on it. He picked up the lollipop. It can't be. The wind howled through a dilapidated wooden house. The surroundings were desolate. Maria's eyelids trembled, and she slowly opened her eyes. She found herself in an abandoned house, her hands tied behind her back. Where is this? A man's voice rang out. You're finally awake. He had a malicious smile on his face. Does this place remind you of anything? Remember now? Maria's pupils suddenly constricted. It's you. She struggled backward, her body trembling with terror. The stranger sneered. Struggling is useless. Maria glared at him. What are you going to do? The stranger revealed a ferocious smile. I'm thinking about how to make good use of you. You look good. Maybe I should just sell you? Or demand a ransom. Judging by your clothes, you should be rich. Which noble family are you from? Maria averted her gaze. I am of common birth. I have no money. The stranger huffed coldly. In that case, he pinched Maria's chin, forcing her to look up. Looks like selling you is the only option. Maria's body stiffened, cold sweat sliding down her forehead. Alfred looked at the lollipop in his hand, his eyes dimming. Maria, this is what Maria bought for me. Zahar approached Alfred. What's wrong? Alfred looked up. Father, this candy. He suddenly stopped. Father doesn't know about my ability. I can't tell him what happened. Zahar bent down. What about this candy? Alfred shook his head in panic. Nothing, but I feel Maria is nearby. He suddenly turned and rushed into the crowd. Zahar hurriedly called out, don't run off alone. Alfred crashed headfirst into someone, stumbling backward. The man looked down and glared. Hey, brat, watch where you're going. Alfred hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry. The man ignored him. He muttered to himself, gotta get back quickly. Finally found that silver-haired woman. Alfred jerked his head up. Silver-haired woman? Is he talking about Maria? Alfred's heart tightened. Oh no, that person is leaving. Maybe it's not Maria. But what if it is? He made up his mind. This time, it's my turn to help. He moved his little legs and dashed forward. He grabbed the man's leg. The man was startled by this sudden collision. Alfred held on tight. Where are you going? The man roared. What is this brat doing? Let go. Gotta get back to the base quickly. Alfred Flotza. Base. Maria might be there. What should I do? The man shook him off irritably. TCH, brat. He swung hard. Alfred was thrown off. He threw the candy with all his might. Take this. The lollipop fell straight into the man's pocket. Alfred fell heavily to the ground. Zahar rushed over. Alfred, are you okay? The man rubbed his leg while cursing. What a weird kid. Watch him. Zahar helped Alfred up. He asked with concern, what happened? Are you hurt? Alfred shook his head. I'm Fine. He pointed at the man's retreating back. More importantly, that person is a candy thief. Zahar looked confused. What? Alfred explained urgently. Look at his pocket. Zahar's gaze followed Alfred's finger and landed on the candy stick sticking out of the man's pocket. Is that the candy you just found? Alfred nodded. Yes. He told me to hand it over and then took it. Zahar frowned. Why would that person take his candy? But Alfred looked nervous. What do I do? Will he discover I lied? The doubt on Zahar's face instantly turned to anger. Snatching things from a child is unforgivable. His eyes were firm. Let's go get it back. Alfred's eyes shone, and he clenched his small fists. Zahar held Alfred, and the two hid behind a dilapidated building, peeping at the kidnapper. Zahar whispered, he is very alert to his surroundings. I'll go take a look around. You wait here. Alfred immediately grabbed him tight. I want to go with you. Zahar refused flatly. No. Alfred clenched his small fists and announced loudly, I can do anything. Zahar looked at him, a hint of a smile flashing in his eyes. He sighed lightly. What a timid child. But he immediately became serious. It's too dangerous this time. You must hide there, okay? Alfred lowered his head and agreed quietly. Okay. He obediently crouched into the bushes, covering his head with his hands. Zahar turned and left. He walked to a dilapidated wooden door. The door was shut tight, locked as expected. He raised his hand and knocked gently on the door. Excuse me. A pair of wary eyes looked out from inside. The person inside asked impatiently what was going on. He recognized Zahar. "Are you following me?" Zahar said, "My child said you took his candy. Give it back." The kidnapper looked completely bewildered. Zahar's tone was icy. "It's right in your pocket." He pointed at the kidnapper's pocket. The kidnapper looked down. "What the hell?" Zahar sighed. "You took it from the child. Do you want to deny it?" The kidnapper looked annoyed. "What a pain. I'll give it back to you right now." Zahar held the door. "I have one more question. I'm looking for someone. A silver-haired person. Do you know them?" The kidnapper's eyes flickered. "I don't know what your relationship is with that woman." Zahar's gaze turned sharp. "I never said I was looking for a woman." He suddenly pulled out a dagger and lunged at the kidnapper. Pressing the blade against the kidnapper's throat, Zahar's voice was cold. "Where's my wife? Speak." The kidnapper looked at Maria. "Make a choice now. Either tell me your identity, or you'll be sold." Maria closed her eyes tightly and suddenly bit the kidnapper's hand. "I don't want to choose either." The kidnapper shook his hand in pain. "That hurts, you bastard." His eyes became sinister. "This is so annoying. I was planning to capture you alive and sell you." The kidnapper raised the dagger. "It seems I'll just have to find something useful from your corpse." Maria's eyes widened in horror. "Damn it." As the dagger was about to fall, Zahar rushed in. "Maria, are you okay?" He looked down at the scar man. The kidnapper spoke grimly. "Give me back my wife." The scarred kidnapper grabbed Maria from behind as a hostage. The dagger was pressed against her neck. "Don't move," he sneered. "Who knows what will happen next?" Alfred saw this scene through the crack in the door. His eyes widened in horror. "Maria, Papa." He leaned against the door. His small body trembled. "Papa told me to hide, but now only I can help them." Alfred's eyes became determined. He made up his mind. "I must find a way to get in." He looked around and found a broken section of the wall. He slipped in quietly and hid behind a wooden crate. "They didn't see me, right?" Alfred suddenly rushed out. "Let go of Maria." He jumped onto the kidnapper's back, clinging tightly to his arm. The kidnapper was shocked and angry. "What is this brat?" He swung hard, and Alfred was thrown heavily to the ground. The kidnapper raised his dagger. "Since you want to die so much, I'll kill you first." Maria threw herself forward, shielding Alfred. The cold blade sank deep into her back. Alfred watched everything in horror. Tears burst from his eyes. He let out a heart-wrenching cry. "Maria!" Maria collapsed to the ground, blood soaking her back. Alfred's hands were covered in Maria's blood. He stared blankly at his hands. Zahar took off his coat. He placed the coat over Maria's back and pressed down on her wound. "There's too much blood. If this continues..." He picked Maria up in his arms. He roared at the door. "Call the doctor, quickly." Maria's face was pale. A trickle of blood spilled from the corner of her mouth. Her eyes were closed tightly. She found herself in an endless sea of flowers. The sunlight was warm. The air was filled with the scent of flowers. Maria smiled and gazed at the beautiful scenery. "What a lovely place. It's really beautiful." She stepped lightly into the small river with bare feet. She walked towards that dazzling light. A distant call pierced the silence. "Mom." Maria's smile froze. She tilted her head, a trace of confusion flashing in her eyes. "What was that sound? I thought I heard something." She looked around. The sea of flowers remained as tranquil as before. A gust of wind blew. Maria shook her head. She cast the thought aside. "It must be my imagination." She looked towards the distant light again. "I must get there as soon as possible." The voice rang out again. "Mom, please don't go. Stay with us." Maria's footsteps paused. Her outstretched hand stopped in midair. "Something's wrong." She turned her head. "I recognize this voice. Because this voice is..." In the sea of flowers, a small figure stood. Alfred was covered in tears. He cried out, "Mom, I don't want you to die." A sharp pain struck Maria's chest. "Alfred, are you calling me?" Alfred cried even harder. "Mom." The doctor stood aside, his expression grave. "The situation is very critical." Alfred held tightly onto Maria's hand. His voice was hoarse from crying. "I want Maria. I want Maria to be my mom. So please, wake up quickly." A teardrop fell onto Maria's face. Maria turned her back on the light. She was determined. "I must return to Alfred's side. I never want to see his sad face again." Maria slowly opened her eyes. She reached out and gently stroked Alfred's cheek. "Alfred, was it you calling me?" Alfred held her hand tightly. Tears flowed uncontrollably. "Because Maria is my mom." Tears shimmered in Maria's eyes. She gazed at Alfred, a warm current surging in her heart. She closed her eyes, a gentle smile rising on her lips. "Thank you." Maria gently pulled Alfred into her embrace. Zahar stood quietly by the bed, gazing at this heartwarming scene. He leaned down and hugged Maria tightly. Maria's cheeks instantly flushed red. Her eyes snapped open. Her body stiffened. Zahar buried his face in the hollow of Maria's neck. His voice was husky. I thought you would never wake up again. Maya whispered, I'm sorry. I made you worry. She lowered her eyes. Zahar, I know. This reminded you of when your wife passed away. The three of them took a walk in the garden. Maria's legs were weak. Walking had never been so difficult. Every step felt like stepping on cotton. Alfred sat on a bench. His face was beaming with a smile. Let's come for a walk every day. Maria propped up her body. She forced a smile. Okay. Suddenly, her body swayed. Her face turned pale. Cold sweat poured down. Zahar asked with concern, Are you in pain? I think we should call the doctor again. Maria shook her head. No need. I'm fine. It's just the after effects of the treatment. Alfred looked worried. But Maria looked at him gently. Don't worry. I'll get better very soon. Alfred lowered his head. Okay, but you can't take too long. He held out his pinky, his eyes full of expectation. Pinky promise. Maria smiled and hooked her pinky with his. I promise. Alfred jumped up excitedly. Then I'm going back to training camp. He ran towards the door. He turned back and shouted loudly. See you later, Mom. Maria waved her hand, unable to hide the happiness on her face. I'm so happy. Since that day, he started calling me Mom. Alfred held Maria's hand. Mom, I will become strong, stronger than anyone. I will become someone who can protect Mom. Maria was moved to tears. She recalled the beginning. That child who hugged a cat doll and trembled. He used to be so afraid of me. This means I've avoided the ending of death, right? From that day on, Alfred spontaneously started training. In the courtyard, he swung a wooden sword. Zahar looked down from upstairs. He sighed softly. Children always grow up when you least expect it. Since you came, he has changed a lot. He never wanted to take risks before, let alone save anyone. Maria lifted her teacup. Is that so? I think Alfred has always been a kind and strong child. He is very much like you. Zahar raised his hand to cover his forehead. His cheeks blushed. Thank you. He cleared his throat. Maria looked at him in confusion. Zahar clasped his hands together. His expression was serious. I waited until your health improved to ask you. Why did you encounter such a thing? Maria held her teacup. Her smile was a bit stiff. Her eyes darted away. Well, how should I say this? I can't tell him that the old Maria sent them to kill Alfred. She squeezed out a fake smile. I was walking on the street. I accidentally bumped into those people. There was a big argument, and then I was taken away by them. Zahar listened to her explanation. Is that so? What a pity. Hearing this news, he warned seriously, but from now on, you must run away immediately. They're the kind of people who never let go once they target someone. Maria smiled awkwardly. I will be careful. She breathed a sigh of relief. Safe, but I really have to be careful. Who knows what that villainous Maria did in the past? Zahar gazed at Maria. You protected Alfred with your life. Thank you. Maria was slightly stunned. Then she revealed a bright smile. Of course, I am Alfred's mother. Zahar was captivated by her smile. He smiled gently. Yes. Maria's cheeks reddened slightly. Her heart skipped a beat. He has such a nice smile. Zahar cleared his throat. During your hospitalization, you received an invitation to a tea party from His Majesty. Maria looked astonished. What tea party? Zahar explained, You're still recovering. I intended to decline this time. Maria interrupted him. Wait, will Prince Carlos be at this tea party too? Zahar nodded in confirmation. Yes, I think he will go. Maria fell into deep thought. In the original story, the conflict between Alfred and Carlos led him down a stray path. The banquet they attended together last time caused a rift between the two. I absolutely cannot let that happen. Maria's eyes were determined. I will attend this tea party. Let's go together. Alfred is more outgoing than ever before. This might be a good opportunity for them to understand each other. The butler fastened the last button for Zahar. Zahar lowered his gaze, lost in thought. He thought of Maria's smiling face. A strange feeling surged in his heart. What is this feeling? Emilio stepped forward and bowed slightly. Duke Zahar, your carriage is ready. Zahar snapped back to reality. Is it time already? Emilio and the butler whispered in the distance. Duke Zahar was absent-minded. Yes, I think so too. The magnificent palace stood under the sunlight. The sunlight spilled onto the red carpet. The family of three walked slowly. Maria smiled brightly. It's so spectacular. Alfred poked his small head out. So many beautiful flowers. A voice rang out. Duke, how do you do? Count Neuer approached, dressed in fine clothes. Zahar shook hands with Count Neuer. Long time no see. Count Neuer smiled. This is my first time meeting your wife. He turned to Maria and bowed slightly. Nice to meet you. Maria responded with an elegant smile. She nodded politely. Neuer's gaze turned behind Count Neuer. Who are you? Count Neuer introduced. This is my daughter, Annie. Say hello. Annie lifted her dress and curtsied elegantly. She revealed a bright smile. My name is Annie. Maria clutched her chest. How can it be such a cute child? Zahar looked at Alfred. Go say hello. Alfred gathered his courage. His voice was as quiet as a mosquito. I'm Alfred. Nice to meet you. Annie closed her eyes and revealed an angel-like smile. Alfred's heart skipped a beat. He hugged the book in his arms tightly. His cheeks burned. She looks just like the princess in my favorite picture book. Count Neuer said, she is about the same age as the young master. Get along well. Maria leaned down and said, why not take this chance to play together? Alfred nodded vigorously. Okay. He and Annie turned and left. Zahar said to Maria, His Majesty has summoned me. I have to go to the main hall first. Maria nodded in agreement. Okay. The banquet hall was buzzing with voices. Nobles chatted in groups of 2 or 3. A noblewoman exclaimed, I heard that the tinware was invented by Lady Maria. What amazing achievement. Another noblewoman agreed. She is both beautiful and intelligent. I really want to know her secret. Maria was surrounded by noblewomen. Cold sweat seeped from her forehead. She covered her mouth awkwardly. It's nothing big. Please spare me. When will Zahar come back? She squeezed out a stiff smile. I'm a little worried about the children. Please excuse me for a moment. She turned and walked away quickly. The noblewomen called out from behind. Please wait. Lady Maria. Maria fled the crowd and let out a long sigh. Finally free. Her gaze was drawn to the distance. Alfred and Annie were sitting side by side on a bench, reading a picture book together. Alfred pointed at the book. This princess looks just like Annie, doesn't she? Annie pointed at herself in surprise. Me? Alfred nodded shyly. His cheeks blushed. Maria watched this scene. She covered her mouth in gratification. Could this be his first love? Rapid footsteps approached. A boy's voice rang out. Annie. Carlos stood with hands on his hips. I've been looking for you. Annie looked up and stood up. Carlos? What's wrong? A trace of smugness appeared on Carlos's face. I want to show you my horses specially. Annie tilted her head with a hint of hesitation. Can Alfred go see the horses too? Carlos froze instantly. Annie revealed an expectant smile. Alfred wants to see the horses too, right? Alfred's eyes sparkled. I can go see the horses too. He jumped off the bench excitedly. Carlos stepped back, startled by him. Carlos's face flushed red. Absolutely not. He saw Annie's disappointed look and immediately corrected himself. Fine. Annie and Alfred looked at each other and smiled. They clasped their hands together. Their faces were filled with joy. The two leaned their heads together, closing their eyes happily. Carlos looked at their intimate appearance and stood dazed on the spot. He gritted his teeth. A vein popped on his forehead. Damn it. I was looking forward to a date with Annie. Maria watched the 3 children from afar. Is everything okay? Adults shouldn't intervene in children's quarrels. I didn't like father interfering excessively either. Meddling in other people's romance isn't good. She turned around. I'll go back to the banquet hall. 2 grooms were holding a black horse and a white horse. Waiting quietly, Carlos opened his arms proudly. These 2 are my horses. Annie and Alfred leaned forward. Wow, the black horse seemed a bit restless. The groom pulled the reins hard. Don't move. Alfred hid behind the groom, peeking out with half his head. The black horse looked so scary. Carlos revealed a sly smile. He crossed his arms, looking down at Alfred. I'll lend that black horse to you. Alfred was speechless with shock. Carlos raised his chin. This is a noble royal horse. You should feel honored. He thought to himself, how could that frail guy possibly ride a horse? Alfred swallowed nervously. Yes. Carlos smiled triumphantly. How could he possibly control such a wild horse? It's perfect for him to make a fool of himself in front of Annie. Annie will ride the same horse as me. The groom lifted Carlos onto the white horse. Carlos reached out his hand to Annie. Annie hesitated, but she still placed her hand on his. The black horse suddenly glared and reared up its front hooves violently. Alfred screamed. He hugged the horse's neck tightly. His body shook violently. Help! The grooms were panic-stricken, trying to control the startled horse. Annie exclaimed, oh my God. Carlos snickered on the side. He's terrified. So funny. The black horse finally calmed down. The groom quickly lifted Alfred off the horse. Are you hurt? Alfred shook his head. Thank you. The groom looked regretful. This horse goes crazy when it's hungry. I should have fed him carrots earlier. Alfred's eyes widened. Carrots? Horse. He saw a fresh carrot sticking out of the bag at the groom's waist. The groom held the reins. He tried to soothe the black horse. Get down. The reins were suddenly broken free. The grooms were knocked to the ground. The black horse charged straight at Annie and Carlos. Alfred watched this scene in horror. Annie screamed. Carlos looked panicked. He closed his eyes and shouted, don't come over. Alfred held up the carrot. Here. The horse smelled the food. It stopped abruptly. It lowered its head docilely and approached Alfred, gently taking the carrot from his hand. Carlos and Annie were dumbfounded, staring at the scene before them. Alfred smiled and stroked the horse's head. "You were hungry, weren't you?" Annie's eyes sparkled. "Alfred, you are amazing. Thank you for saving me." She held Alfred's hand. "You were so brave." Alfred was a bit bewildered. "Am I?" Carlos crossed his arms. He huffed. "It was just luck. You were scared to death just now." Annie turned to look at Carlos. "You were terrified too, weren't you?" Carlos's face turned red. "I was not." Annie continued. "Why don't you thank him for saving you?" Carlos turned his head away. "Why should I?" Alfred spoke up. "No need." He reached out his hand. "In exchange, please play with me again." Annie clapped her hands excitedly. "Shake hands in friendship." Carlos snorted coldly. "I really can't deal with you. I'll let you off this time." He reached out and took Alfred's hand. Alfred's eyes shone with light. A warm current surged in his heart. A brilliant smile bloomed on his face. His cheeks flushed pink. Annie also smiled happily. Carlos looked away awkwardly. Alfred gestured excitedly. And then guess what? Aunt Dorothy came to help. And Annie, she praised me for being brave. Alfred's face was all red. His smile was bright. I also got along well with Carlos. Maria gently stroked his head. "That's great. It's really good progress that Alfred and Carlos can get along peacefully." She looked at Zahar. "What did you talk about with His Majesty?" Zahar said, "I received a report that tin production has dropped, so I'm going to inspect it next week." Maria rested her chin on her hand. "I see. That's strange. It hasn't been long since the last inspection. Knowing my father, he might be up to something again." She spoke up. "Since this concerns the Dunn family, I will go too." Alfred raised his hand. "I want to go too." On the rugged mountain road, the three arrived at the mine. Zahar looked at the person in front of him. "Long time no see." Daniel smiled and bowed. "Thank you for coming all this way." Zahar waved his hand. "We're the ones visiting abruptly. Sorry about that." Daniel extended his arm. "Then, please allow me to show you around." A group of miners crossed their arms, staring at them with serious expressions. Zahar looked at the tense atmosphere in confusion. The miner leader whispered, "What are people from the capital doing in a place like this?" Zahar's expression was grave. "We received a report that production has dropped recently." The miner leader roared, "You say production dropped? Don't lie. Is this to make us work harder? Then pay us what we deserve." Zahar, try to explain. "We have always compensated everyone fairly. Profits are distributed accordingly too." The miners were furious. "Our workload keeps increasing, but the wages are pitifully low. It's you nobles who embezzled all the profits. It's all the country's fault. You live luxurious lives, while we work ourselves to death here." Maria clasped her hands in front of her chest. Her face was pale. "What exactly is going on?" Zahar, try to calm everyone down. "Everyone, please calm down." A miner roared, "In that case, I quit." He slammed his shovel onto the ground. The miners threw down their tools one by one and turned to leave. Daniel shouted hurriedly, "Wait, why is everyone suddenly like this? Please wait." Maria hugged the frightened Alfred tightly. Zahar rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Under the cloudy sky, the Duke's mansion appeared particularly solemn. Zahar walked with large strides. He pushed open the door to the study abruptly. Marquis Dunn sat behind the desk, holding documents in his hand. "Zahar, why the rush? You didn't even knock." Zahar walked to the desk. "I want to audit the workers' wage distribution records." Marquis Dunn put down the documents. "Speaking of that, I heard the miners went on strike because of you. Shouldn't you apologize first?" Outside the door, Maria and Alfred peeked in quietly. Maria looked helpless. "I came because I was worried about Zahar. Now I have absolutely no room to intervene." Zahar's gaze was sharp. "The real problem is, you didn't pay the miners their due wages." Marquis Dunn revealed a hypocritical smile. "The pay I give is very fair, but the tin mine business is expanding. The royal family hasn't provided extra support. Expanding operations requires more funds. I hope you can handle this matter as soon as possible." Zahar's fist clenched until it was white. A trace of cunning flashed in Marquis Dunn's eyes. "How about this? Let the Dunn family take full control of the tin mine business. What do you think?" Zahar's pupils constricted suddenly. He refused sternly. "The tin mine business is state-owned. Giving it completely to the Dunn family is absolutely impossible." Marquis Dunn grinned. "Is that so? Then I'm afraid we have no choice. We can only stop all mining operations." He smiled triumphantly. "I think I'll write a letter to the king personally. I will explain to him. The mine closure is all because Zahar didn't cooperate." Zahar let out a muffled groan of anger. He turned to leave. "Then I will take my leave." Maria's face turned deathly pale. What to do? At this rate, they will blame everything on Zahar. I must think of a way. Stop the Dunn family's conspiracy. There must be something I can do. I have to think of a plan. Alfred listened to Maria's inner thoughts. Is father in danger? I must do something to help him. He opened his small hand and gazed at his palm. Maybe this time I can really help. Alfred clenched his fists. His eyes were incredibly determined. Mom, leave it to me. Before Maria could react, Alfred had already rushed out. His small figure headed towards the study. I'm going to save Dad. Maria was full of worry. He ran off. Will he be okay? Alfred ran to the desk. His small face was flushed red. He looked up at Marquis Dunn. Grandpa. Marquis Dunn put down the documents in his hand. What is it? Alfred Stepmother. He opened his arms, closed his eyes tight. Hug me. Marquis Dunn smiled and picked Alfred up, letting him sit on his lap. Haha, you really know how to act spoiled. Alfred listened to Marquis Dunn's inner thoughts, feeling uncomfortable all over. One annoying brat. Just looking at him gives me goosebumps. Alfred clasped his hands tightly together. I'm so scared, but for Dad, I must do this. He forced a smile. He pointed a finger at the documents on the table. Grandpa, what paper is this? Marquis Dunn pinned the documents down. Don't touch that. He quickly closed the documents. That was close. Even if it's a child, I can't let him see the mine documents. As long as I hide this, Zahar has no chance of winning. The miners have done their part. Now I just need to report to the Lord. Destroy that brat's credibility completely. Alfred looked terrified, so he was behind all of this. For Dad, I must take this notebook. He suddenly hugged the book, jumped off Marquis Dunn's lap, and ran away. Marquis Dunn stood up in shock. Where are you taking that? Alfred hugged the book tightly. He turned his head. This notebook looks so cool. Can I borrow it? Marquis Dunn's face became ferocious. If Zahar sees that, the flow of funds will be exposed. Alfred rushed towards the door. Maria was standing there. Marquis Dunn pointed at him in exasperation. Maria, catch that brat. Maria stood aside, watching Alfred run past her. She covered her mouth, suppressing a laugh. He ran away. Marquis Dunn stomped his feet in anger. Are you kidding me? Chase him quickly. Maria stuck out her tongue. Okay. She chased after him slowly. Alfred. Alfred turned back, panting. Mom, you're here. He handed the book to Maria. Mom, for you. Does the mine really have money? Maria took the book. Wait, this is the secret ledger. It even writes about forcing the miners to strike. He actually went this far? Marquis Dunn's voice came. Where's that notebook? Maria closed the book. Her eyes were cold. Father, you have gone too far. She opened the door, grabbing Alfred's arm. I caught Alfred, but he doesn't have that notebook on him. Alfred lowered his head and whispered an apology. Sorry, I think I lost it. Marquis Dunn's face twisted with anger. What on earth are you doing? Maria looked at him. I will scold Alfred properly. Father. Marquis Dunn clicked his tongue impatiently. He turned and ordered the servants to search everywhere. Find that notebook no matter what. Maria watched all this quietly, then gently placed her hand on Alfred's shoulder. Alfred, you did an amazing job. The two looked at each other and smiled. Their smiles were as bright as flowers. Maria covered her mouth, shaking with laughter. With this notebook, I can expose all his crimes. Serves him right. Zahar walked over. Maria, why is it so noisy outside? He looked at the servants running around in panic. Maria said, they seem to be looking for something. Zahar nodded. I see. I'm going to see the mine foreman now. So, Maria and Alfred spoke in unison. We're going to. They pounced on Zahar, their eyes full of expectation. Zahar hesitated. I don't mind. Maria held the ledger, her gaze becoming incredibly sharp. I want to use irrefutable evidence to confront them and end this strike completely. Maria handed the ledger to Zahar. Take this. Zahar took the ledger. What is this? Maria explained. This is the ledger regarding the mines. My father has always kept it secretly. Zahar opened the ledger. His eyes lit up. I see. The miners sat around the bonfire. The atmosphere was heavy. Leather shoes stepped on the gravel, making a crisp sound. A bearded miner looked up. It's you again. Zahar stepped forward. Can I take a moment of your time? I want to talk about what happened the other day. The foreman turned his back to them. We have nothing to talk about. Another miner agreed. That's right. Go home quickly. Zahar did not back down. In that case, I'll say it right here. His voice wasn't loud, but clearly reached everyone's ears. Regarding the recent strike, you were acting on orders from the head of the Dunn family, right? The foreman turned abruptly. Wait, what did you say? He stood up. All right, I'll listen to you. Follow me. The foreman led them toward a solid wooden cabin. He pushed open the heavy wooden door. 3 children were playing on the floor. Seeing their father return, the children immediately surrounded him. Daddy, welcome home. Who are these people? The foreman smiled and patted one on the head. They are guests. We have important things to discuss. Can you go out and play for a while? The children ran out of the cabin. Maria held Alfred's hand, following behind Zahar as they walked in together. The inside was simple but tidy. The foreman sat at the table and got straight to the point. Speak, what do you want? Zahar looked straight at him. I'll be direct. Can you please stop the strike? The foreman shook his head. I can't do that. You should know, too. It was the head of the Dunn family who paid me to do this. He said he would give me more after it's done. Alfred walked to the miner's side and placed his hand on his arm. The miner's inner voice came through. I never should have gotten involved with nobles. That would only bring me misfortune. I just want to protect my family. Alfred looked at Zahar. Dad, please forgive him. Zahar was stunned. Alfred added, he just did it for his family. The foreman let out a muffled groan, looking troubled. Maria's voice was gentle but firm. I understand your sense of responsibility and your love for your family. But if this goes on, everyone will suffer. Can you tell us everything? The foreman's eyes dimmed. Working here has always been dangerous. Most of us don't live past 30. That's why I wanted to leave more money for my family. Maria clasped her hands, her tone calm. So you obeyed Marquis Dunn completely? The foreman answered in a low voice. Yes. He glanced at his sickly wife on the bed. If I disobey him, my family will be in danger. His fist clenched tightly. There's no turning back now. My companions trust me to follow me. Zahar said, then how about a different way? Why don't you serve as the minor representative yourself? Negotiate directly with the state to increase wages. The foreman looked shocked. What? Zahar explained, in fact, your workload has increased, so the government is preparing to provide a special allowance. The miner stood up. You mean you will negotiate with the government on our behalf? Zahar nodded in confirmation. Yes, the mining industry is vital to the country. Not just for you. I will take full responsibility. The foreman walked out of the cabin. Facing all the miners, he raised his fist high. We could get the allowance directly from the government. The strike is over. The miners erupted in thunderous cheers, their faces overflowing with joy. Maria smiled and gently patted Alfred's head. A carriage sped over. Marquis Dunn jumped off the carriage. He pointed at the crowd and roared, what is going on? Zahar, what happened here? Zahar raised the ledger in his hand. This is the mine's secret ledger. You embezzled the wages allocated by the state for the workers. Marquis Dunn's face turned pale. What? That is. His legs went weak and he collapsed to the ground. Zahar declared coldly, you will face trial for this. Guard stepped forward and held Marquis Dunn. Alfred rushed over. Dad. Zahar turned around and gently placed his hand on Alfred's head. You really helped me a lot this time. He smiled. Well done. Alfred's cheeks flushed red, his eyes sparkling. He grinned, revealing a brilliant smile.